Hey, everybody.
Oops.
Hello.
Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah.
Hi, guys and girls.
Happy Kwanzaa. Happy everything else.
Just be happy, huh?
Just be happy.
Don't worry.
If
Oh,
you're
I think
happy.
I just sent that to Stefan and not Steph.
Yes, it is.
Confused.
Steph and Steph. Oh, dear. This is going to be bad.
Where is Steph?
We have Steph and Stefan. Oh, and we've got two
And
Nicks.
Nick and Nick.
Oh, boy.
Man, we need
Thank
another
God.
Jeff and another Liz.
I know.
Uh-huh.
No, we don't.
Oh, no.
Definitely
We
don't
definitely
need another
don't
Liz.
need another Liz.
Merry solstice, Ken. You're right. Shortest day. Tomorrow we're on our way to June. On our way to
Longer
summer.
days, thank goodness.
Yoo-hoo.
What's going on with your? Is it just me? But Steph's.
Is my audio?
No, your little image in messages, your little icon, your picture
Yeah.
is like mostly covered with gray, and I can just see your forehead. Maybe it's just my.
No, not
my
mine.
issue. Okay, never
No,
mind.
it's okay, mine.
Disregard. Must be me. I just didn't want to see your face, so it took care of it. AI took care of it.
Just didn't want to see your face. Yeah, six pack.
It's fine.
I don't know. Is that the password that you had before, Steph?
Mine, it logged in. It just took forever. I didn't
Oh,
even put a
yay.
new password in or anything. It's
All
still
right.
thinking about loading, but
We're having a
it's there.
few. Guess what? We're having a few technical issues, guys. So we're
What?
just
What?
sorting them out.
Well,
I
at
know.
first it said, sorry, we're having trouble. Try again. And I just reloaded it, and then it came right up.
Oh, okay.
You mean trying again worked? Yay!
I think it's because Captain Jeff isn't dressed appropriately Christmassy.
I know. He's
Jeez,
shocking.
yeah. Where's your Christmas spirit?
I don't have any Christmas stuff.
Okay.
I live in a live in a van.
I have some Christmas
Down by
balls.
the river.
I live in a van by the river. Come on.
But you're in a very nice hotel now, so
I'm in a hotel. Yeah.
Oh, you got a
hey,
Christmassy Starbucks cup. That works.
Yeah, I was
There we go.
gonna say. I got
Hold that up the whole entire
set.
show.
I have, I
you
have
just-
Christmas.
could you just stick
balls.
that to your shoulder there
I
somehow?
actually was going to do like a virtual background, but I don't think it will work with this background because it's just I don't know. Let's see what.
There's
I
some
have.
green back there. Watch it.
There.
Oh,
That
yeah,
looks
there
good.
it is.
Perfect.
But it's
Yeah, the headset's not great, but
it's not very great.
I kind of like it.
It's fine.
What's
What,
what's
does it have to
Nick
be
got
perfect?
there?
No.
He's got his Christmas
It's got
Christmas
a-
mug.
Mug of the East Coast of the United States.
Oh, very nice.
Well, it
I
actually
can't-
goes all the way
Oh,
around.
and then the rest of the United
like
States.
The mug, the mug
Does it-
goes all
Oh, I
the way
see.
around.
It's-
Does it make gunshot noises?
No, it
Hey,
serves
hey,
tea,
hey,
though.
hey.
I
Sir
have a
Steve.
fancy
More USA judgment.
Oh, very nice. Yes,
APG
yes.
mug.
You know
They're still
that's our
sore,
joke,
Camacho.
Camacho.
They're just still sore about all of this.
I know.
Well,
Speaking of
I'm
USA,
feeling a bit sorry for Stefan today because, of course, we've got a World War II bomber pilot on the plane tail.
Oh,
which
yeah.
I
didn't think
was
that one
thinking
through,
about
did
that,
I?
saying,
Oh,
dear.
Stefan, never mind.
We don't. You can go off flying now.
Camacho,
Yeah.
if you can tilt your camera down a little bit and get your head up in the more in the headspace.
I'm getting. I don't have Christmas stuff, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of you.
Thank you.
I have a little pig with a lucky here. I'm already New Year's Eve. Is that okay with you?
That's
Yeah.
fine.
Come,
Okay.
hey, fat joy.
Yeah.
I think
So what's
Stefan's.
next year? The year of the pig?
Isn't it? I don't know how your symbols are for New Year's. We have these clover leaf with four.
No.
Four.
I think it's Year of
Leap.
the Snake next year.
Oh,
Oh, I
Okay.
thought you were going with the Chinese
No,
New
no,
Year.
no.
Year
No,
of the
China.
So
Wood
the
Snake.
Germans have a year of, and they have an animal for New Year. This is new to me. I didn't know this.
Well, we call it Glücksschwein, which is a lucky pig. You know, it has nothing to do
Oh.
with.
you lucky pig, you.
Yeah, maybe I don't know.
You're all pigs.
My pig is drunk, I guess.
I need to figure out how you guys can see my shirt.
There's my
Oh, you're right.
recent
I see it.
enhancement. I got a picture, a light on my picture behind me.
Jeff's not gonna like that.
Thanks to my
Very
brother.
nice.
There we go.
Very nice.
nice.
We like that.
So, Steph, I don't see that are you in Unity?
Should be.
Oh, okay. Just the button that I have on my Stream Deck is still blacked out. Oh, hang on,
Press
let
the-
me-
Press the chapel hat peg.
Okay, then. Good,
All
good,
right.
good.
Sounds like we're almost ready to go then.
I can hear Liz in both Unity and
I
Unity.
can.
Oh,
So-
yes.
yes.
Sorry. Thank you. Now I fixed that.
Okay.
Hi, Pilot Pip.
Hello, everybody there.
Ah,
And yes,
Pepperoni.
I am the only one
Hello.
that's not set up for Christmas because I'm an old man who lives in a van down by the river.
There was an old man who lived in a van.
You're probably going to do more Christmassy stuff in the next week than most of us by singing all the time. And
Yeah. I'm going to Christmas it up, babe.
yep.
And we're not going to be doing a show next week. We're going to take the week off.
Whole week off.
Yeah. Well, you can take the whole month off if you'd like.
Thank you.
The whole rest of the month? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sweet.
I'll just go back to old school and just do it myself.
Sweet.
You don't have to worry about it.
Sweet. Does that include me?
Yeah,
No.
primarily you.
Oh, good. Okay. Fine. Be like that. All right. Let's get this show on the road. People got things to do,
All right, let me.
places to go, people to see.
Oh, okay. Guess I changed these things on the side there. The media assets is where we go now, huh?
Huh?
Or am I the only one that's seeing that? Over there on the right hand
I see it.
column? Okay.
Oh, yeah. Media
Used to be
assets.
brand.
Oh, yeah.
You're changing it up. Okay, let me see. So I guess people of chat room, is everything okay? Or volumes okay? All that kind of stuff?
Hey, Jeff, there's your neighbor, Luis from Johns Creek in the chat room.
Oh, I'm sorry. So I'm in media assets right now, but let me go back to the comments. Hey, Luis. Cáceres, I think. How'd I do? Okay. Recorders. Thank you, Tim.
Can you guys hear that real clearly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
kind of.
Yep.
It's okay.
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's
All right.
louder than you are, actually.
It's ambience.
Can hear.
You know what? I don't.
It's all
even
right. I have my
Reaper
dog
open.
like clawing
Jeff-
at the door over here.
Jeff Ihall Boxes says they'll wait and tell you 5 minutes into the recording what the
I know
level-
that's what usually happens.
That's right. That's what he's saying.
Like after we've started. Oh yeah, Jeff's kind of low. Yeah, now you tell me.
We got to hurry up and get this going so I can get this hat off. It's making my head hot.
I had to turn mine around because it's got like really terrible seams on either side. And it was right on my forehead. I was like, ah!
Oh, yikes. Yeah.
Yeah, no good.
Test.
I'm going to have hat head after this.
Okay.
That's kind of fun though. Like if you
That recorder's going.
can't tell what to do.
That recorder is going. YouTube recorder is going. Okay. Ken says everything, and Mike Kuiper says everything sounds good. Okay.
Yoo-hoo! It's a Christmas
Media
miracle.
assets. It is. And do this, I guess. Here we go.
Here we
Why is it not working?
Oopsie.
Oh, my Stream Deck is not communicating.
Oh boy.
Son of a gun.
Son of a whatever.
Yeah. Okay, hang on. Let me
Uh-oh.
We're hanging.
pull it out and let me pull it out
Oh,
and
wow.
put it back in. How
Okay.
does that feel?
Careful.
Yeah, I'll just keep the logo up then, shall I?
You
Yeah.
sure? I don't think we're going to
There we go.
notice. You know.
That sounds better. Yeah.
Shut up, Nick.
All right, count down again, please.
Oh wait, nobody can see me except for the guys on the. That's for Nick Anderson.
Is Jeff acting like an Airbus?
Couldn't see that.
You're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy Show.
The view from our side of the cockpit door.
WAPG.
It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Airline Pilot Guy, episode 644.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy.
Hello, you're listening to the Airline Pilot Guy show, the view from our side of the cockpit door, with your host, Captain Jeff, broadcasting live from the APG Road Vessel Studio. Today's show is recorded on the week of December 16th, 2024.
Yeah, he's up in the sky. It's the Airline Pilot Guy. Put your light and he's flying by. With the Airline Pilot Guy.
In today's episode, a KLM flight diverts because 100 pigs in the cargo hold caused a tremendous stench. And a Southwest Airlines flight lands on a Long Beach runway while another plane was still there. Also had more news, your feedback, and today's plane tale. So get all settled in. Tray tables and seat backs in the upright and locked positions. Electronic devices powered on. I'm Radio Roger, and Flight 644 is ready for pushback.
Thank you, Radio Roger. You know, he's an award-winning TV and radio reporter, currently at the #1 all-news station in the nation, 1010 Winds on 92.3 FM in
New York City!
You probably knew that, though. Oh, welcome to the Airline Pilot Guy Show. It's an aviation podcast covering the latest in aviation news and answering your great feedback. I'm Captain Jeff, former U.S. Air Force pilot and a retired Delta Airlines captain. And joining me from her lakeside studio in the south, she's a doctor, skydiver, marathon runner, IPA connoisseur, commercial multi-engine instrument-rated backstabbing jumper-dumper. It's Dr. Steph.
Hey, Captain Jeff. Guess we're starting my attendance streak over again, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
all right.
Yeah. Mark her down for one in a row.
Present. Looking forward to a great
Present.
show. Good to see you.
All right, great to see you as well. And now we're going to switch over to this one from his studio.
Well, Captain Nick seems to have frozen here.
I was
Something.
going to say, is he though?
He's absent from the chat, from the broadcast at the moment.
Not
okay.
present.
Well, then I should probably do this. Fade it out.
I think he must
All
be
right.
working on it.
Working on it. I'm working on it. I'm glad it wasn't my issue, which it normally is. Well, here. Oh, you know what we need to do? Under media assets, we can do this.
Oh, yeah, very good. Very
Please stand
good.
by.
Please stand by.
Oh, yeah, and I could do this too.
And you know, Steph can peek over around the side.
Around
And,
the edge there, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and I'll put this on too.
oh no, you just messed it up for her.
You ruined it.
Oh, sorry.
I didn't know it'd do that, but I guess when it shifts
If she's
up,
peeking on the wrong side.
There,
There
she's-
she
I
is.
was
There
letting
she
dogs
is.
in and out of the studio room here.
There she is.
Aw, look at that. Wait, let's see. Oh, that's Liz's thing. You got to
Yeah,
go
where's
over
Liz?
to your
Liz is-
right. If you go to your right, Liz, we'll see you. Your right? There we go. Yeah. Oh, we see her.
Perfect.
I tell you
okay.
what would be easier is just do that. Then we can see everybody.
Well, why don't we introduce Stefan and then Camacho and see if Nick's back by then? You
Okay.
think? Maybe?
Um,
Just to...
well, I'm not sure that's going to help anything.
All right.
It won't help me as far as editing is concerned and make it harder,
Okay.
which
Haven't really heard
Might be
from
a
Nick
good
here.
thing.
I don't know what he's doing.
Has anyone messaged him to see?
I'm doing that
Okay.
even as we speak.
I don't know.
Nick.
Producer, maybe our producer. Staff. Message
Yeah,
Nick,
yeah,
see what's
I'm-
going on.
I have. I have that in hand.
And meanwhile, I'm going to drink my coffee, my Starbucks Christmas cup coffee thing, because that's my Christmas decoration.
Exactly.
Did I tell you guys I'm snacking on some Christmas balls here?
Are you?
Well,
yes.
so you like snacking on those balls, huh?
No.
Oh, he's back. He's
Oh,
back.
look. What the heck happened?
My camera went gafut
Okay.
and it stopped working.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
And the audio stopped working too?
And I could hear you, but I obviously didn't want to just carry on without any video. So
Gotcha.
I came reset myself.
What camera is that?
That's the Ozbot.
Ah, solid as ever.
He readjusted himself and he's back now. So let's get going.
Okay.
Crack that whip, Liz.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, I just got to get this in my head. How do we do this here? Okay. And also joining us from his studio,
in Hartford, Hereford, and Hampshire.
pensioned off photographer, former RAF, RAAF fighter pilot, retired Airbus A330, A340 captain for Virgin Atlantic Airways. It's Captain Nick.
Hi, everybody, and a very Merry Christmas. Only a few days to go. Are we all getting excited? Well, I am, because show 644 is a very interesting number. Do you remember the movie The Chicken Run with the old Air Force gentleman who claimed he was a pilot? The old chicken called Fowler claimed he was a pilot, and it turned out he was a mascot for 644 Squadron, a real RAF squadron that during the war delivered SOE agents and glider and parachute infantry to major wartime airborne invasions. So there you go. After the war, they repatriated prisoners of war. 644 is a great number.
Wow. That's
Fabulous.
good stuff. What's an SOE agent?
Special Operations Executive, a precursor to sort of MI5,
Like a ranger
MI6 probably.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Spies.
wartime spies.
Spies.
The spies.
Yes.
The spies. Okay, great. Good stuff. Thank you, Captain Nick. And also joining us, from his home studio in the air capital, low and slow pilot, A&P mechanic, old airplane enthusiast, engineer in the aerospace and defense industry, and a big fan of the Kansas City Chiefs. It's Nick Camacho.
Hey, Captain Jeff. Glad I'm back with you. I missed a couple of weeks. I think I missed 2 weeks, but
Yeah, we noticed. It was
I'm here.
noted.
Yeah,
Yeah, okay.
it was probably really
Camacho
too
for
many.
one in a row.
Got it.
Got it. All right. Great to see you, Nick. Can't wait to get all caught up with you. And also joining us, we have one of our guest hosts that you've seen every now and then, and we're going to go ahead and play this music here. From his home studio in Hamburg, Germany, retired blue and white A380, a Boeing 737, A300, and A340 captain. From Germany, Captain Stefan.
Hi, Captain Nick. Hi, everybody. Thanks again for letting me in your show. And we're starting out with some technical difficulties, and I'm recalling that whenever I jump in your show, there's some slight itch. Is it normal, or maybe it has nothing to do with me, doesn't it?
Totally normal.
Okay, then.
Oh, yeah, we always have this.
It's
I
a
like
feature.
that. I like this.
It's a feature, not
It's
a bug.
It's a feature.
Well, it's a pleasure to be here again. Thank you very much.
Great to have you, sir. And also, last but not least, from her studio in Toronto, retired financier and aviation enthusiast, spreadsheet master, our producer, donning a wonderful Christmas cap. It's Liz Piper.
Happy holidays, everybody, from us cold and snowy Toronto.
Great to see you,
it's
Liz. You know
pretty
what?
cold up there, isn't it?
That little ball on the end of your cap, I thought that was something hanging from your microphone before because you had it on the other side.
Oh.
I didn't realize it was part of your cap.
Yeah, no,
Your
it's
hat.
it's a really long
Oh,
hat.
wow. Look at that.
Yeah, it's like the elves wear these kind of hats.
That I would say is very impressive.
Australians could do with a hat like that. Keep the flies away.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of corks.
Wow.
Very impressive.
Yes, it is. All right.
Have a good show, you guys.
Thank you, Liz. All right. Let's start off the show with some aviation news, as we do.
Stand by for news.
All right. Our first item is a video from You Can See ATC, I think that's the name of the YouTube channel. Let's see, it involves an A350 that encountered some issues while on approach coming in for landing at John F. Kennedy International in New York. And I think, should we just start this off by playing the video and then we can have our discussion? Okay. Yes, our favorite airport for sure, especially this time of year. All right, let's see here. I'm going to go over here to this and like that. And if you'll put that in the studio, Liz. Oh, is it not shared? Oh, what happened to it? Well, obviously you can't do that because it's not, it somehow got unshared. So let me, no, it's not your fault. It's something that I did, I guess, or didn't do, share. Okay, now if you'll put that in, where'd it go? Okay. Oh, okay. Beautiful. All right. So let's read some of the narrative from this video. Date 8 December 2024 in New York, New York, 8:12 p.m. local time, so it's dark. Not that it really matters in this case. A Virgin Atlantic A350 1000 registration Golf Victor Tango Echo Alpha performing flight, what is that, 9J? Or actually flight 9, I guess, from London Heathrow to John F. Kennedy International Airport, was descending towards Kennedy Airport when the flight crew declared pan-pan and reported a computer failure. They also informed that they were unable to verify the position of the flaps and the position of the gear, or in some cases, gears. Just kidding, I don't like that. They also mentioned that they were unable to verify the position of the flaps and the position of the... Oh, I just read that. In addition, they were expecting or suspecting loss of... It's so tiny on my little screen here, it's hard for me to see.
That's what she said.
Shut up. In addition, it's Christmas time. Let's have some Christmas cheer here and be nice to Jeff today. Okay, for a change? I am. In addition, they were suspecting loss of nose wheel steering after landing. Subsequently, the airplane landed safely on runway 31 at Kennedy Airport. Okay, so I'm going to hit this button right here and see if we can hear what they were doing here. I think it's running. It's really hard to tell. There. Virgin Flight 9.
Boston Virgin 9 Juliet.
Virgin 14 Lima Boston.
Virgin 9 Juliet, we have a technical problem on the approach. Is there any chance of an early handover to New York so we negotiate?
Virgin 9 Juliet, I'm sorry, say that again?
We have got a technical problem with the aircraft, which will require some negotiation with New York. Is there any chance for an early handover?
Virgin 9 Juliet, Roger. I will work on that. Are you declaring an emergency at this time, or do you need any assistance?
Virgin 9 Juliet, that's affirmative. It'll be pam, 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 pam. We are unable to verify our flap or gear position, so that requires some monitoring before we commence the approach.
Virgin 9 Juliet, Roger. For now, you're so direct to Rober.
Clear direct Rober, Virgin 9 Juliet.
Virgin 9 Juliet, I just want to confirm it's a technical problem with the aircraft and you have a flap issue, is that correct?
Affirmative, sir. We are currently unable to verify the position of our flaps or the position of our gear, so we need to practice that before we can commence an approach.
Virgin 9 Juliet, Roger. I understand that. And what do you require on the ground? Do you want the structural order or anything?
Virgin 9 Juliet, there's a possibility that if the gear comes down that we will not be able to turn off the runway, so we might have to stop on the runway to verify if our nose wheel steering works to be able to turn off the runway.
Virgin 9 Juliet, Roger. I understand that for now. Speed is your discretion and maintain 12,000, 12,000.
Maintain 12,000 speed on discretion, Virgin 9 Juliet.
Still remaining.
Virgin 9 Juliet, the souls on board is 339, including 15 crew. Current endurance remaining is 75 minutes, 75 minutes.
Virgin 9 Juliet, roger, thank you. Virgin 9 Juliet, do you have a runway you're requesting?
Virgin 9 Juliet, if possible, we would like runway 31 right.
Virgin 9 Juliet, confirm 31 left or 31 right?
To be honest, 31 left or 31 right, either works fine for us.
New York 9 Juliet, approach has all the information. If you need anything else, just let them know. Contact New York approach 125.7.
125.7. Thank you very much for your help there, Virgin 9 Juliet. New York approach, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, which is descending 12000 direct to Roma.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, New York, good evening. Romeo is current. Understand you need one of the 3-1s. Will visual approach to runway 31 left work for you?
We are, well, in the box we've put an ILS 31 right. If that's available, that would really help us. But we're quite happy to modify it if required.
Okay. Sure. Stand by 1 second. Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, you can expect the ILS runway 31 right approach.
ILS 31 right, that's appreciated. And if possible, on base we would like to try our gear and our flaps. If they come down, then life will be a lot easier.
Okay, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, roger. Yeah, I mean, we can do whatever you need. Just, do you need a vector for that or speed or something?
Virgin 9 Juliet, if possible, is something like 5 or 10 miles before Cape Cod, about 5,000 feet. Take the gear and then do our flaps. If that works, then we can do the approach from there.
Okay, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, roger. And just to verify, you did declare an emergency and you're looking for them to roll the trucks and everything?
Virgin 9 Juliet, yeah, we did declare an emergency. We might not be able to vacate the runway if the nose-wheel steering doesn't work. We don't see any need for any emergency services that should not be required.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, descend to maintain 9,000 to Kennedy altimeter 29904.
It is at 9,294 Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, and associated with this fault there's a possibility we will not have any lighting at all on the outside of the aircraft, or all the lights will be on, so we might have everything on or everything off, we don't know.
Sounds like a drone.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, roger, I will pass that along. And I'm sorry, what is the exact nature of the problem?
The problem is we have got a computer fault. One of the 7 computers has failed on the aircraft, which has given us a list of problems. One of the problems is that we do not know the position of our gear or the position of our flaps.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, roger, thank you. And Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, if able, can you give us the fuel remaining in pounds?
Pounds sterling?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a
How much
big
does it cost?
calculation.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy,
Stone.
plummeting
Got it in
return
stone.
10 degrees left, please, and maintain 5,000.
10 degrees left and descend maintain 5,000, confirm?
Yes, 10 left and 5,000.
10 left, descend 5,000, Virgin 9 Juliet. New York, Virgin 9 Juliet, fuel remaining in pounds, 17,160 currently.
Thank you. And Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, is this a good vector towards the localizer for what you need?
Virgin 9 Juliet, yes, that is perfect, sir.
No, can you try harder? Make it better?
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, contact approach 132.4. Good day.
32.4, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, thanks for your help, sir. New York, I'm Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, descending 5,000 on a heading of 245 degrees.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, New York, good evening. On this heading, intercept localizer 31 right, report established.
Virgin 9 Juliet, before we intercept, we'd just like to try some flaps and everything before we do. I'll tell you if I'm ready to turn on.
Okay, no problem. Just stay on this heading then. Descend maintain 2,000.
Descend maintain 2,000, Virgin 9 Juliet. Virgin 9 Juliet, our gear is locked down and our flaps are traveling, returning in for the localizer.
Very well. Thank you, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy.
Thanks for your help so far.
No problem.
How do they know?
so far. You haven't screwed us up
Virgin
yet.
9 Juliet Heavy, cleared ILS, runway 31 right approach.
Cleared ILS, runway 31 right approach. For your information, we still do not know whether we can turn off the runway, so we'll probably stop on the runway just to make sure that we can.
Okay, that's fine, sir.
Thank you, sir.
No problem.
I know.
Virgin
so
9
weird.
Juliet Heavy, contact Kennedy Tower 119.1. Good night, sir.
19.1, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy. Thanks for your help.
No problem.
Kennedy Tower, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, ILS 31 right.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, Kennedy Tower, traffic lands right to left, runway 22 left, runway 31 right, continue, expect landing clearance momentarily.
Continue, 31 right, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy.
Wait, they didn't give him a landing clearance. What?
Oh.
Is this
9
America?
Juliet Heavy, just giving you an update. There's a vehicle on the runway just conducting a safety inspection for your landing clearance. Expect clearance here shortly, okay?
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, that's understood. Thank you very much.
They're pulling out all the stops.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, the vehicle is off the runway now. You're number 1 for runway 31 right. The wind 2306, 31 right, clear to land. The emergency vehicles are on standby.
Virgin 9 Juliet, thank you very much. Clear to land, runway 31 right.
And here it comes. Very fast. And looks like they're
Virgin 9
stopping.
Juliet Heavy, your intentions, let me know what you'd like to do. Do you want to exit the runway?
Virgin 9 Juliet, we seem to be off normal. We'll try and vacate the runway here. Stand by.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, exit your discretion to the left when able.
Okay, turning to the left when able, Virgin 9 Juliet. Virgin 9 Juliet, all good, off normal. Thanks for your help.
Okay, Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, understand ops are normal. Do you require any assistance from the emergency vehicles?
Negative, sir. All off normal now.
Virgin 9 Juliet Heavy, you can turn left on uniform, left onto Alpha. You can taxi to parking, and you can go to ground on 1219. If anything occurs, give her a call, and you have a good night.
Uniform Alpha and then 121.9. Thank you very much for your help, and thanks for all the emergency services as well.
Merry
Guys, I'll talk to you later.
Yes. All right. There we go. A happy ending, as our producer said in the background, which you can't hear if you're watching the video. All right. So we discussed this a few days ago, Liz and Captain Nick and I. And that's why we're talking about it now in today's show, because there was a lot of conversation generated regarding this. And I was just kind of scratching my head trying to understand why this was even happening and why couldn't they figure out the position of the flaps and the gear and all that kind of stuff. And obviously I've never flown an Airbus, and I've not flown an A350, although I was awarded captain on the A350. I never went to school on it. But I think that Captain Nick and our esteemed guest host, Stefan, know something about Airbus craft, and they might be able to help us understand what's happening here. And so I'm going to hand the baton to Captain Nick to kind of explain this.
Well, the 350 is a completely different generation of aircraft to the ones that I flew, the 340 and the early 330s. I don't know if the 380 had any similar computer architecture. Stefan, was this a problem that you've ever heard of or encountered in the 380?
Well, not this particular problem, but as you said, the 380 already and the 350 even more has nothing to do with the 340. I also know a bit before, or from every aircraft, they have all the systems are separate computers, and they also give the information in an ARIC network and then goes to the instruments. And on the 380 and 350 as well, they have basically only maybe I overdo it, or maybe I simplify it too much, but they have, let's say, 6 big computers. In these computers are, again, nested systems, which are operating either the flaps, the gear, or whatever, cabin control. So the software itself, and they're connected through switches and routers and everything. And these switches are itself a system which can fail. And it looks like that one of these systems failed, and that's why it gives you some interesting faults.
Yeah, from what I inquired of some old contacts I have in the company, inquired to see if they could give me any information. And what I got from one of them was really a comparison between my generation of Airbus and the current generation of not only Airbus but also Boeing. So he said the 350 and the 787 are so different to what's come before. The avionics are a dual network, but of course independent for redundancy. Mind you, when a network gets a glitch, it plays havoc, particularly with monitoring and indications, despite the business ends, i.e. the actual, in this case, the gear and the flaps, still doing what they're supposed to. I've attached a couple of overviews from the manuals, and just Google IMA for more gen. I might try that. Upshot is, after the pan, the system was reset, followed by many DMs. In my day, they would be called status messages, but nowadays they're called dispatch messages, which had to be reset individually, and I think they basically got most of their stuff back. Thankfully rare and still head and shoulders above the 787s, so I think he's referring to whatever systems the 787 have. But I've read the overview, and quite honestly I might as well try reading something that's written in Chinese, because it's completely impossible for me to decipher when it just says that basically the systems can communicate with each other via a high-speed digital network instead of conventional wires. And they use the concept of integrated modular avionics, IMAs, don't know what that is. Principle is to provide the same hardware shared by several avionics systems for computation and communications on the avionics network. And it then breaks down what the IMAs consist of, but that's not going to do us any good unless you want to hear all the acronyms that they have invented to explain all this, because
yes, please, can we hear all the acronyms?
Oh, if you insist. The CPIOM, the CRDCs. Oh, okay, you don't want to hear. Sorry, I misheard.
Yeah.
And thank you. And then it's got a picture which looks like it came out of a 6-year-old's colouring book, with all these acronyms printed over just boxes, and then there's blue lines connecting all the boxes, and then there's a pink network and a blue network, and I'm going, I just don't understand any.
I'm glad that I didn't go to training on the A350.
Well, I can understand that, because
something.
I actually chatted to one of our current captains today, and he said, yeah, when we all went to ground school on the 350, and we started asking questions about this, we basically were told, don't worry about it, it's all magic, just believe it, because we haven't got time to give you the university course that would be required just to explain how these networks work. So I think we're getting to that era where it was bad enough when I was flying Airbus, but now it's even worse, where you just get told something and you just go, all right, I believe you, it works, and you just have to take it for it's magic.
Have faith.
It's all magic.
If you're interested, I do have a checklist, the fault which is displayed to the crew when that happens on the 280. Shall I read? Do you have time?
Why not?
It shows you, it undermines
what you're... Post. Go ahead.
I beg your pardon? Yeah. Got me in this one. I can speak it in German, so it's much easier for me.
Okay, that's even better.
No, it's an English checklist, and it's but it gives you also a mind that it's very vague checklist. It says avionics network, multiple switches, cable fault, network degraded. Depending on the failed switches or cables, if the communication between some aircraft systems is not longer possible, the applicable systems alerts will be triggered. Some indicators on several displays, so it goes a little bit beep, maybe can this, can that, but the most important part is attitude heading or air data switching, consider. So they say, hey, look at the speed compare. If there's anything wrong, you might have to switch off or on several sources. And in the status message, it says slats and flaps not monitored. So that means possibly when you select the flaps, since it's as I said, it's a nested system, it will work on its own, but it will not communicate what it's doing basically to the crew. You only can feel by look and feel. You feel what the flaps are doing. So and it will of course still put out alert if there's something wrong.
This is fascinating because from an airplane at the 340, which used to have an independent computer for landing gear and one for the flaps, and usually only one failed at a time. And if you got the landing gear computer failed, you still had a backup set of landing gear position indicators that were completely independent of that. So you always knew if the gear was safely down, basically. I'm a bit bemused that Airbus have moved away from something as robust as that. But then again, you can always look out of the window, and I do remember there was a special window on the 340 that was marked, discreetly, and you could go back there as the pilot and you could peer out through this particular window, and lining up some marks with the flap position, you could work out where the flaps were. And so just basically looking out of the window and then seeing how far they'd gone down and checking against these marks. And of course, also they've got a camera so they can see all the wheels to make sure the gear have actually come down. They don't know if they're locked, of course, but at least they know they're more or less in place.
Just to make sure, all the alerts, like gear not down, not locked, the system is not working correctly, it will pull up as an alert. But the monitoring via the displays is not really working. And if the gear is unsafe, they still have two systems going even through direct bulbs, like two independent indications into the cockpit, which are hardwired, I think, even something, I recall.
Okay.
So,
and will the EGPWS give them a warning if it's not locked down?
Got
you now, haven't I?
Yeah, got you now.
So, I mean, that could be belt and braces. That could be a way of telling that your gear is down because that warning doesn't go off on the approach.
If
too low gear.
I think if you didn't have the gear down when you touch down, you'll know. I think there will be some indication.
Yeah, eventually you'll hear a lot of
scraping, and it's a lot. It looks like you're a lot lower than you normally are.
Yeah, and the airplane will stop very quickly.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean, and for manual indications how the flaps or the gear, while in the A300, the old one, there has a little pin which comes out through the wing, showing up that the gear is locked on the main gear.
Oh, that's
what most of the airplanes Jeff flew had back before they had electrons that ran between the gear and the cockpit. He could just
well, that's true. And of course, most of his engine instruments were stuck out of the cockpit on the wings, weren't they?
Yeah. You said little
we just open up the window,
poke
our head out, and go, "Oh yeah, everything looks good."
Yeah.
All right, you guys are not funny. Remember, it's the holiday season. You're supposed to be nice to me.
Merry Christmas.
Too late, I guess. Yeah, thank you. All right. We did have a little discussion about not the technical aspects, but more about the operational aspects. And I was just kind of curious why, it sounded like everybody was expecting them to land on 3-1 left. And I think in most cases, when people have an emergency and they need as much runway as possible, they will usually request that. But in this case, well, to be fair, they did say that 3-1 left or 3-1 right would be fine, either one, except that they had already put in 3-1 right in the box in their flight management computer. And it would require a little bit of work, not a lot, I wouldn't think, to switch it over to 3-1 left, unless 3-1 left was not something that they could select in the box, and because they did mention it was going to be a visual to 3-1 left. Now, Nick had mentioned that 3-1 left is a huge runway, 14,000 some odd feet long, but it has a pretty long extended what do they call it?
Sterile section. A displaced threshold.
Displaced threshold, that's it. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you. Displaced threshold. So effectively, if you land beyond the displaced threshold, You have 11,200 some odd feet remaining, and I think the landing distance on 3-1 right is 10,000 feet. But I get the feeling, and through our discussion, Captain Nick, correct me if I'm wrong, we kind of sensed that they thought that everything was going to be fine. It's just they weren't sure because they didn't have that indication that things were working the way they were supposed to. But then once they finally started the configuration process, they realized that everything was essentially operating normally. So,
yeah, I think they were banking on that, and they did, I guess, confirm that everything was in the right place, so they could effectively a normal landing. They just weren't sure if the nozzle steering was going to work, but apparently that did.
Mm-hmm.
So there wasn't really much in the end, other than they couldn't. They had indication issues. Just beside the point, 9 Juliet as opposed to VS9, Virgin 9 Juliet, that's it's common on some airlines. When you have flown into a destination and you discover that about your arrival time there's someone else with the same number in their call sign, and if your crews discover that they're sometimes making a mistake acknowledging clearances or whatever for an aircraft with a similar sounding call sign, they will add a letter onto the end of the call sign to make that less likely to happen. So that's why the VS9, Virgin 9, became Virgin 9 Juliet. That's the only reason that's there. It's not a compulsory thing, but a lot of airlines do it when they've had a few crews write air safety reports saying, oh, there's an aircraft with a very similar call sign to ours, and sometimes with the controller's accent, it's easy to make the mistake and pick up the wrong transmission.
I could be wrong, but I think also it does have something to do with air traffic control and the automation. When you have two flights operating at the same time, using the same flight number, I think that can be a problem. So I think at least that's what I think is going on there as well.
Yeah, that would be unlikely to happen with Virgin because we don't have enough flights.
Yeah, well, that's true. iHaul Boxes in our live audience says a white Christmas and a happy ending for 2 Virgin pilots. What more do you need?
Oh, very good. Yes.
Oh,
yes,
wow. That's a
I
lot of
think
innuendo
Stefan
there.
wants to add something as well.
Yes, Stefan, go ahead.
If you still have time discussing this topic, I was a little bit also scratching my head about the missing nose gear steering. As I've recalled, that happens basically only if you have some hydraulic failures or if you have to do a manual gear extension. And the manual gear extension, you might have to do it if the whole network breaks down. But that basically, from the status they pronounce, that would not be the case. So I think they would just be very, very super careful by what they're
Interesting.
doing. Yeah,
I mean, it just blows my mind that the convention of connecting a wire to one item in the aircraft and leading it to an indication in the cockpit has completely changed, in that now we're just like having an internet, in fact a couple of internets on the aircraft passing all this data around.
Yeah, in fact, right now version 9
read.
is en route, and I can see that they have, let me look at this window here. Yes, the gear is up. So I can tell from here, yeah. No, I'm just getting it on the internet. They're somewhere over the Atlantic. Yeah.
That's very good.
All right, let's skip down to news item D, and this is a preliminary report. A Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700. Stefan, you can wave your flag there. That would be some nice visual. For the video there. Yeah, the 737 flag. There we go. Let's see. Registration November 250 Whiskey November, performing flight 1671 from Oakland, California to Long Beach, California. Was cleared to land on Long Beach's runway 30, although a private aircraft was still holding on the runway. The Boeing landed safely, slowed to a taxi speed, about 857 feet ahead of the private aircraft, and reported to ATC that there was another aircraft on the runway. A private Diamond DA-40 had landed on the runway, or runway 30, with the instruction to hold short of 26 right about 2 minutes earlier. The aircraft stopped on runway 30, short of runway 26 right, as instructed. About 3 minutes after 1671 was cleared to land, about 15 seconds prior to 1671 reporting the other aircraft on the runway, the DA-40 crew radioed ATC and said, hey, we're still on the runway. NTSB released their prelim.
Hello, I'm still here.
Hello, that airplane, do they know that we're on the runway still? Now, that was good. This is good SA, good situational awareness on the part of the DA-40 to listen to what's happening on the radio, because they thought, wait a minute, they just cleared that guy to land and we're still on the runway. This is not good, So this is an example of good situational awareness and listening to radio communications. Let's see. Do I need to read any more of this? There's a lot. There's kind of a breakdown, like a minute-by-minute breakdown of what happened here. But I don't know. What is your takeaway, crew, from this one? Okay, that's what I thought.
I don't know. I was just looking at the airport diagram here, trying to figure out. Wait, I missed something. Both aircraft.
Yeah, I don't understand
how did
what
this
happened
work?
either. Yeah,
like.
Okay,
So the Diamond landed, holding
yeah.
short of 26 right. The 737 also landed, but stopped ahead of the.
I think
stopped
that was a
700 feet ahead. So did he touch down after the Diamond?
I think
and have a landing roll.
I think he was
they
behind him. Like he
yeah,
stopped
they
down.
misused that narrative that I read that was in this.
They had to have been
I think
not
this was
all the way up to where the
I think
the
this
Diamond was ahead of.
Simon's error in using the wrong word, not ahead, but behind. I think was the correct word. Yeah, because if you actually read the prelim, that's what happened. I know it's confusing.
In my head,
did
it
the same
sounds
thing.
like they just went around. They're like, "Oh, you're still on the runway. Let me just skirt around you and stuff."
Yeah, they were actually ahead of them, and but they didn't know. The Southwest crew apparently didn't know it until after they had already landed and slowed to a taxi speed, and then wait, there's an airplane there holding short of 26 right on our runway. That's what I got from this.
Do we know if it was daylight or nighttime? I'm just trying to work out how they missed seeing the other aircraft.
It was
that's interesting.
It was 14:50 PDT, so it was
Middle of the
3
day.
o'clock,
2:50
in the
middle of the day,
afternoon. So yeah.
Just shows that strobes are great, but they don't do everything for you. So they're not really visible on a bright day. A little airplane, a small airplane on a big runway is not easy to spot when it's stationary. So that's a worry. There was a slight, and I realized the controller cleared 2 aircraft to land on the same runway, and you go, well, that's not very clever. But to be fair, there was a little bit of confusion because one of the aircraft wanted to make an approach for 30 and circle to land on 26 right. So the controller actually said, no, you can't do that. But I wonder if in his head he had sort of heard 26 right and thought that perhaps that aircraft was on 26 right. So now he had runway 30 clear to allow the other aircraft to land on. But other than that, I've really got not a lot of sympathy for him. He can't go around doing this. Not on.
No, I think he just lost track of that DA-40 and what he was doing out there.
He was controlling quite a few runways, wasn't he?
I have a few, but not anything more strenuous than a lot of airports out there where they have multiple runways that they're controlling. Now, I'm not clear. I have to reread it, I guess. But when the DA-40 crew said to Tower, hey, we're still holding short of 26 right, at what point was that? Was that before the 73 landed or after?
Sounds like it was after they landed, because didn't it say it was after the 737 crew reported that there was another aircraft on the runway? So they must have been like, hey, there's
15 seconds prior. So it was
prior.
probably right around the time the Boeing was touching down.
There's a 737 coming up quick behind us here.
Yeah.
We're still here.
Do you think that's a good idea? No, that's not a good idea.
Yeah,
well, thankfully, they didn't hit the DA-40, and the DA-40 was far enough down the runway that this wasn't a major tragedy, right?
Yeah, it's a 10,000-foot long runway, so thankfully.
I was going to say the other interesting thing
space.
to me is that if you look at the airport diagram, 26 right is like 8,000 feet down the runway 30, and there are a Diamond DA-40 is like a small 2-seat airplane, and there are 1, 2, 3, basically 4 taxiway opportunities that he would have had to get off the runway. So I'm a little curious why they had him land and hold short of 26 right.
I'm wondering if maybe the home base for the DA-40 was on that side of the field where they wanted to keep going down the runway.
It looks like he went past everything, though.
Yeah, it doesn't show anything on that side of the airport.
I wish I had downloaded the airport diagram. So
that far down. I mean, at least the diagram doesn't show anything down there in terms of hangars or FBOs. Everything's prior to that point.
Huh. Well, that is odd.
I could try to share it if you want.
Yeah.
Or I'm wondering if it was some kind of an instruction flight where they were going to do like a stop and go.
That could be
thing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's I was always taught I still fly little airplanes, but because the airplanes I fly are so little, I was always taught to taxi, after you land and you slow down to taxi speed, scoot over so that you're basically like in between the center line and the edge of the runway, so that if it's at night, your lights don't kind of get consumed by the runway environment with everything being symmetric.
Good idea.
And that probably works also during the day with your airplane fuselage not being quite as camouflaged within the centerline markers.
Yeah, and you can do an overtake maneuver more easily and get squeezed past.
Formula One, yay!
It's highly maneuverable 737s. Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah. Highly maneuverable tricycle.
Oh, should we do a takeoff news item? Okay, let's go to the next one in the news item E. We talked about this before in an earlier show, but all we had was the video, and that was it. And we were trying to figure out what happened there. We kind of surmised some, things, but now we have a preliminary report on this. And let me just play. Let me play the video, Liz, if you'll put that in there. And okay, let's watch the very end of this takeoff roll. Okay, 727. Crossing the fence at about 0 feet and taking out a lot of
Does the 727
antennas.
always do that, Jeff?
That was pretty normal landing or takeoff for 727. There's the aftermath. I guess that's the ILS. Antennas.
Yeah.
Oops. The plane aftermath is what we're looking at now. There we go. Ooh, yeah, that looks like it's going to cost a little bit of money to fix. Okay, and there was an Aero Sucre, Boeing 737-200 lead sled freighter, a registration.
727. No, 727.
Yeah, where the flag again,
Wait,
Steph.
727 or 737?
Oh, I'm sorry, 727. Never mind. Yeah, it's
no.
There we go. Thank you. Very good. There's a great reason why we have Stefan with us today. He's helping with visual cues.
Aero Sucre, is that flying sugar? What is that?
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
Flying sugar,
Okay.
baby.
Okay.
Sugar. Registration Hotel Kilo 5216. Hey, sugar. Have I told you I fly 727? Performing flight 372 from Bogota, Colombia to Valencia, Venezuela, was departing Bogota's runway 14 left when the aircraft overran the end of the runway, and after becoming airborne, contacted a localizer antenna before climbing out to safety. The aircraft entered holds, or holding pattern, before returning to Bogota for a landing on runway 14 right without further incident 1 hour after departure. Let's see. On the 12th of December, Colombia's DIACC released their prelim report in Spanish, stating that the conditions for takeoff were not favorable due to a 12-knot tailwind. The aircraft, and just a side note here, in most cases for most operations, unless there's something unusual like a volcano at the other end of the runway. The 10 knot, usually the tailwind limit for most airplanes is like 10 knots, so this is 12 knots of tailwind. The aircraft therefore waited about 15 minutes for improvement. Oh, okay. When the wind calmed a bit, takeoff commenced. Okay, so maybe they took off with less than 12 knots. ATC
11 knots.
11.
Just kidding.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. 280 at 9. So that would be under 10 knots. The crew performed a rolling takeoff, which consumed the entire length of the runway. After rotation, the crew heard a bang, which they thought was related to the landing gear, and stopped the climb at 15,000. It took them a while.
It took them a
Yeah,
while.
we should probably
yes.
stop. A runway
the
inspection.
Altitude of
go ahead.
Bogota, the altitude at Bogota is 8,358
Oh, okay,
feet.
so it's not so bad then. They were
Okay.
7,000 feet above the terrain. A runway inspection did not find anything on the runway. The crew advised a possible look beyond the end of the runway. Maybe you'll find stuff down there. They advised possible gear damage and decided to return to Bogota. After burning fuel to reduce the weight to maximum landing weight, the aircraft landed back on 14 right. A subsequent inspection revealed damage to the left inboard main wheel and left flaps and left slats, amongst other damage. Light thunderstorms in the area on the METAR, but looked like a pretty nice day. Scattered 1,500 CBs, 2,500 broken, so that's the ceiling. Looks like a pretty nice day up there. Well, yeah, no excuse or reason that I have seen yet on the the preliminaries. I think they just throw out there just to confuse everybody and jump to conclusions, or that's at least what we do.
A question, please, sir. May I ask
Yes.
a question, please?
Uh-huh.
I don't know Bogota at all, but was there a good reason why, instead of just sitting waiting 15 minutes to take off downwind, they didn't use that 15 minutes to taxi to the other end of the runway and take off into wind?
Wow. Now that's thinking outside the box.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know.
okay.
I haven't flown there myself. I wouldn't think that there'd be a good reason.
I
for
thought there
that.
might be a big, mountain or something at the end of the
I don't
other
know.
runway.
I think that
I was hoping my ForeFlight would give me a 3D view, but I need to download all of South America maps for that.
that
which
could take a long time.
So,
Come on.
yeah, I'll get back to you.
Okay,
You know,
thanks.
if Rick were with us, he'd probably know all the answers to this. Go ahead, Camacho.
I was just going to say, just from Google, it looks like if you take off 15, you are flying towards the mountains, but they're like on the other side of town. So it seems like you have time to
Yeah, okay.
perform over there.
Anybody in our live audience operate in and out of I-haul boxes, maybe?
Yeah, he goes all sorts of weird places, doesn't he?
Okay, Bill from YYZ, Bill Salton, says the Bogota prefers that configuration because the approaches for arrival are very limited on the reciprocal. Okay, so you'd have to fit in with the traffic if they took off opposite direction. And they have obviously the captain has a date with Sugar sometime that evening, and that would just completely throw off the...
There's kind of just mountains all around and like on either side. So I don't know, I guess.
Fair enough.
Yeah, well,
Thanks, Bill.
hopefully we'll have more information with the final.
Did you look at the pictures in the final report? It's saying that the localizer antennas which they hit are 1,000 feet behind the threshold, and then approximately another 3,000 feet behind the thresholds, or 300 meters. There are the parking spots, and there is even a cam they took a picture of the departing aircraft, which was basically not very much higher over the car later on itself. So the next 2,000 feet, it was basically flying in ground effect, I guess, to get out there. Yeah.
Interesting.
This is a
I'm thinking
cargo
that they
aircraft.
may have been overweight.
Yeah, I'm wondering
perhaps.
how much cargo they were carrying.
Yeah. Well, hopefully as we said, hopefully the final
Sugar.
report will have more.
Heavy sugar.
A
A
lot
lot
of
of
sugar.
calorie, makes you fat. Come.
Yeah.
Okay, Bill in our live audience says it's a crazy airport for operating into and out of, at least for us non-locals.
Yeah. I can believe that.
All right. Speaking of cargo, let's drop down to item J, Juliet. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner flying to Mexico City was forced to divert to Bermuda for some reason, let's see, let's read on here. The Dreamliner was flying from Amsterdam to Mexico City on Friday. I'm not sure which Friday, recently. Was forced to divert to Bermuda after 100 live pigs being transported in the cargo hold of the plane started to kick up such a stench that it affected the, quote, oxygen environment in the cockpit.
Stefan's got a visual for this one too.
Yes.
Does
I've
he?
got a- yeah.
Oh,
got a
yeah,
pig
he's
on.
wearing it.
It's Christmas pig.
Wearing the pig.
His New
on
Year's
his,
pig.
Oh, New Year's pig. Sorry. Yes. Wrong.
New Year's pig. Yeah. Wow. We were really happy that we invited Stefan to be with us today.
We need to know how the oxygen environment is in Germany.
Yeah. How is your oxygen environment, Stefan? Is it okay? No? Okay. Let's see. The pilots of KLM Royal Dutch Airlines Flight 685 were forced to contact air traffic control around 6 hours into the transatlantic flight to Mexico with an unusual request to make an unscheduled stop in Bermuda due to what the captain described as obnoxious cargo. Okay, or maybe he meant like noxious fumes, but they just took it as being obnoxious. I don't know. After entering a holding pattern off the coast of Bermuda, air traffic controllers contacted the pilots to gather more information about their decision to divert, with the conversation captured by the Bermuda Flyer on Instagram. After being asked whether emergency services would be required to meet the aircraft on arrival, the captain explained that the diversion wasn't an emergency, but there was a lot of obnoxious cargo coming from pigs, probably, which may have something to do with the oxygen environment in the cockpit, so that's why I'm diverting.
So are they talking about the cargo the pigs are carrying? Because that's a separate.
Yeah, well, that's
thing than the pigs
I think it was noxious vapors
The pigs,
coming from
the pigs were well
pigs'
fed before this
cargo.
flight. Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they were evacuating, all right.
Emergency evacuation. Oh, yes.
Oh. Let's see. The air traffic controller then has to check that he has heard the pilot correctly, with the captain replying, "Yeah." And those are probably the start of the inconvenience, so they'll probably have to be offloaded. After landing in Bermuda, the pigs were removed from the aircraft and had been taken to a, quote, secure location where they are under the care of a veterinarian from the Bermudan government, a spokesperson for the airport operator explained. Let's see. The characteristic smell of the 100 pigs in the cargo hold prompted the crew to move to Bermuda for a breather and fresh air. That was a spokesperson for somebody. I'm not sure. By the time the plane was on the ground, the pigs removed from the cargo hold, the crew could no longer legally work the rest of the flight to Mexico City. So they had to be accommodated in local hotels. Darn. I wonder what happened to the piggies. Liz is suggesting that maybe they had to go get some little shorts, like Bermuda shorts, to put on the pigs. I think
there was an influx of bacon to the local markets and grocery stores the next day.
a lot of fresh pork all of a sudden made itself available. Yeah, wow. That's something you don't hear too often. Now, it kind of reminds me of what was the Miami Rex story? It had something to do with monkeys, I think, or what was it? What was the cargo that they had on board?
That. Yeah.
Some kind of livestock or something that just made it so that it was just almost impossible to think straight. Main Man Micah says, "Didn't you guys hear about the big Bermuda barbecue?" Yeah, it was great.
Way to go.
They had a lot of leftovers. Wow. Yeah. Goodness gracious. All right.
I have so many questions with that. I mean, 100 pigs. What size of the pigs? I mean, was it already ready to be
at the end of the
ready
line
for
pigs?
the feast? Or was it piglets? Or how does it smell? Got everywhere in the technically. I mean, why the smell was going around so much in the whole aircraft? The ventilation from the cargo compartment, it should be rather separate. So that's why. I mean, I know that if someone close to the cockpit, the forward toilet in any aircraft I experience, if someone goes to the toilet, everybody, if you probably can recall that, notice that someone is using the toilet behind you. It's
how do they notice?
Knock signs, maybe, whatever. But in the cargo compartment, that really really gets me. I mean, why?
Mhm.
How?
I guess it was just so overwhelming that it just, I don't know. You got a good point there, because the airflow in general goes from the passenger compartment, the cockpit, all that, through the cargo compartment and out,
Yeah.
so it seems
Yeah.
like it'd have to almost reverse flow for them to, I guess it was so bad that it just overwhelmed the ventilation systems.
It melted the seals or what?
Wait a minute, seals? Did somebody say seal?
Well,
They smell pretty bad
perhaps they
too.
use a
Captain
recirculation
Anderson.
system. Yes, sir.
You completely missed it. I was throwing up the softball for you. There we go. Thank you. And no, it wasn't 100 seals. It was 100 pigs. Okay.
100 seals
I
also probably
remember-
would not smell very good.
Probably not very
Yeah.
good. Yeah. Okay, Captain Anderson, continue with what you were, the point that you were making.
I just the recirculation. I can't remember exactly how it works, but 70% of the air on an Airbus was recirculated. But that air that goes into the cargo hold, I don't think we necessarily recirculated that. But I'm trying to work out exactly how that recirculation system worked. But I suspect that was probably it's Boeing after all. I don't know how their aircraft are designed. But
It always boils down to that, doesn't it?
yeah, almost as bad as pigs are the durian fruit, which stinks. And I noticed that Air Canada had a flight between, it was Air Canada Rouge, Vancouver and Montreal, that did the similar thing. They diverted because of an overpowering smell, because they were carrying a load of durian fruit. Apparently, once you get past the stink, the flesh tastes very nice, but you've literally got to eat it with a peg on your nose.
You're talking about the fruit still, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, Triple H, Hank Humphrey in our live audience says, how many airlines ship animals with passengers? I don't. I think it's
most of
a lot of them
airlines
do,
have
but it's
animals
usually
and passengers.
But it's pretty. But isn't it normally a quite limited number of live cargo in the cargo hold? I don't know. In my experience, it was.
Well, we had recently the case of the hamsters.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
yeah, there were a lot of
132, but they
hamsters.
amounted to like one pig.
That's
And
true.
I recall, I mean, I don't know how often that it still happened, but I recall that flying around eggs, I mean, eggs which are almost ready to hatch or whatever. Hatched, one-day chicken was also a very interesting cargo, which they're carrying around quite a bit. Sometimes, at least to have recalling that, but maybe that's not necessary anymore. Yeah.
Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure.
I mean,
we know the
apart from
answer.
anything else, you'd need to have a fully air-conditioned cargo base. Now, all the airplanes I flew just had one. The Hold 5 was the only one that was heated, for example. But I don't know.
Good question. We'll get the staff. Figure that answer out. Working. Okay.
He
she's
does
working on
a
it.
787 captain in the
Okay.
in the
I
audience.
think it's time now for us to jump to the next segment, which is getting to know us. All right. It's the time of the show where we kind of figure out what everybody's been up to between shows, especially those who were absent in one or two of the last episodes. I'm not pointing fingers or casting aspersions, or I'm not even looking you in the eye. I'm looking straight into my camera right now. Who Camacho, why don't we hear from you, sir? It's been a while since we've seen your lovely face.
Yeah, I've been pretty tied up with work the last month. We had, let's see, I think the last time I was on was the day after Thanksgiving show, whenever that was, November 30th or something. The following week, went out to California for work. I was actually able to take my wife for our company Christmas party. So she hung out there with me for the weekend and then came back. And I stayed out there for another week, getting some stuff prepared for work, and then spent this week preparing for a big review with a customer. So we just got through that yesterday. So I'm hoping that we've now crossed the threshold so that I can take a little breather this upcoming week with Christmas coming up. Kids got out of school yesterday, so you got a
Yay.
whole laundry list of holiday things to do now.
I'll bet. And are you going to be home for the end of the year, through the end of the year, you think?
Yep, I think so. I think I'll be home until early January, and then I'm back off again to do work stuff.
Cool. Well, I'm sure that you're going to have a great time spending the Christmas holidays with the family and watching the potential for the Kansas City Chiefs to. I guess they've made the playoffs, right? They already secured that playoff.
Yep, they've
berth,
already won their
and then-
division, so they have 3 games left, and they have essentially like a 1-game lead for the 1-game lead for
They
the
have like the first game is a
first
bye.
number 1 seed. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Good. Well, hope they stay healthy, and those that are not, hope that they heal up and do well in the playoffs.
Yep.
All right. Anything else?
I don't think so.
Okay. Well, if you think of anything else, you can come back in and let us know. We're going to go next to Miss Stephanie, and let's see how's the weather been in the Carolinas, Steph?
I'd call it typical December. So everything. So this morning it was -1 Celsius when I woke up, which was interesting. It was cold. But 2 days ago it was +20. So did a little driving with the just the small portions of the top of the Jeep that can come off because it was nice and warm and humid. And then yesterday we had a thunderstorm with hail also. So I don't know. But apparently we have about a 0 chance of a white Christmas coming up, even though it's cold again. So no wintry precipitation. I think we're on to like day 800 and something here in the greater Charlotte area without any wintry precipitation measurable, that is. But good enough. I still, let's see, I'm trying to think if I wasn't here last week. I did 2 weekends in a row of flying, actually, and that's probably about it for the year for me. One weekend I was not last weekend, but the weekend before I was actually scheduled to fly. So that was my weekend. Saturday was very nice. Sunday was a bit too windy, so we didn't manage to do much on Sunday that weekend. And then last weekend I was not supposed to be flying, but someone was last minute unable to. So I had a Christmas party for work on Friday night, a meeting for work on Saturday morning. After the meeting, I went down and relieved the other pilot so I could do the flying for the rest of the day. We did quite a bit more than I thought that we would, and then I went to another Christmas party right afterwards. So I feel like I've just kind of been on the go.
Been partying.
Yeah, partying. You know me, huge party animal.
Party animal. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. No. Very very tame parties, I will say, but enjoyable. Yeah, Liz is saying I've been doing a lot of swimming, so that's been good. Been back in the pool. I have a one of my work partners is an avid swimmer as well, and we've kind of hooked up in terms of working out together before work on Tuesdays and Thursdays when we're in the same office and not far from the pool that's close to our homes, respective homes. So, yeah, 5:30 in the morning. It's not a very warm pool. Could be like 3 degrees warmer and I'd be really happy, but it feels good to be, kind of getting back in shape. I was missing out on that for a little while. So,
yeah, we were all talking about that behind your back.
Yeah, let myself
You're
go.
really getting out of shape.
So, yeah, good enough that I think we're gonna put our swimming skills to a test in a little masters swim meet next month, which should be fun and/or funny. Either way, should be a good time. Okay. And then running resumes in March. So we'll see.
Excellent. How's the knee doing?
Yeah,
is it,
knee's good.
Yeah.
Knee's good. It's getting there. So.
Okay. Yeah. I don't. Getting back to the jump zone, the jumper dumping that you do.
So yes.
So you mainly fly the Twin Otter, is that right?
No, we only have a Caravan right now.
Oh, okay. Did you see the Caravan incident in Hawaii that happened last week, And maybe that's something, Liz, we can put in the news for.
I did not
for
see it.
the next
I'm
show.
sorry, I haven't.
It was.
I haven't been watching much.
A cargo outfit out over
Okay.
there, and I forgot the name of the company, but they were. It looks like we're doing some kind of a training flight and a steep turn. And I was thinking, I bet Steph could really, inform us a bit about that airplane and what may have happened and that kind of thing. But
Stefan too. Yeah.
hopefully be able. And Stefan too. We have a little bit of video that we're going to show of Stefan.
Have we got a Stefan 1 and a Stefan 2? I didn't realize that.
Yes.
That's
Who's
right.
the other Stefan?
Well, they're both Stefan.
Ladies first, always.
Such a gentleman.
Anyway, so we'll discuss the what I was just referring to in a later show. Speaking of, we'll just quickly mention that we are planning on taking next week off for Christmas time. So we probably won't. This is probably the last show of the year, I guess. Right? Yeah,
I would think.
Seems like if you look at a count. Or maybe, yeah.
Unless
so
we did
we'll
the
see.
Monday or Tuesday.
It'll be very close to the end of the month or sometime toward the beginning of next year. But anyway, very good. Good to see you, Steph.
Yeah.
Anything else? Steph
I think
1, I should
that's
say.
a good summary. The past 2 weeks.
All right. Very good. So basically what I got from that is you're just going to a bunch of parties and flying.
Party animal, flying, swimming.
And swimming. Yeah.
And working. I worked a lot. So.
Oh, that's good.
Thankfully not working. Yeah, it's just a busy time of year. Everyone wants to get everything done before I've talked before about especially in this country where deductibles, historically reset at the end of the year. That's not as much of the case anymore, but still people want to get things done before the end of the year, before the holidays, before they travel. So it's, just constant phone calls of, oh my gosh, I got to get in like now. And you're going, okay, we'll try and accommodate as many folks as we can. We want people to feel good for the holidays.
Absolutely.
Good.
Oh, iHall Boxes says then, happy birthday, Jeff. Yeah, my birthday is shared with the feast of, no, I can't think of his name. St. Stephen, Boxing Day, Kwanzaa, so many things. And that's also my birthday. Day after Christmas, the second day of Christmas is my birthday. So thank you very much for that. And I'm planning on celebrating with at least myself, maybe somebody else, maybe my daughter. So, yeah. All right. Let's continue on with Stefan. What have you been doing, sir, since you were with us last?
First, I've noticed that the first stuff she used. It's an aviation podcast. She uses Celsius for temperatures. I like that. I mean, it's
I just figured 31 or 30 or 31 wasn't going to translate real well.
Yeah, very good. Love it. I was the last time I haven't been flying since the last time I was on the show because I had lots of flying scheduled, but the weather here in Hamburg is muggy, foggy, low ceilings, temperature around 5 degrees Celsius, and so it's hardly any. I wasn't flying anything, but yesterday I was carrying a lot of chairs and tables and everything because I helped preparing the Chaos Computer Club meeting, the annual meeting, which is between Christmas and New Year's in Hamburg. Luckily, it's a big, crazy get out. It's like a little bit what Oshkosh is for aviation guys, is the Chaos Computer Club for the computer nerds in Hamburg. And a lot of, let's say, voluntary work. So I volunteered and my back and everything is hurting because I was doing so much stuff. But I'm going to have a little podcast. I have my podcast at the Chaos Computer Club on the 28th in the evening on the little stage. So I'm looking forward for that. So that's what my thing I'm doing next, except, of course, having holidays and Christmas and everything.
Excellent. And just like to mention, I'm trying to find the conversation that you and I were having, Stefan, regarding your podcast in Germany, and it's like pretty much up in the top 5 podcasts there in Germany, right?
I don't know what kind of weird scale or thing is. I don't know if that, because it's not only Germans, but Usman is there as well, as you recall. So no. So it's for an Englishman in a German top podcast list. You're way up there. It's a good one.
Die besten Luftfahrt podcasts 11 2024 für Deutschland.
Yeah.
But you're up there in the top group, and that's awesome. And tell us again the name of your show.
Oh, that's Come Fly With Us. So I'm using a German name. No, actually not. So Come Fly With Us. And
I actually understood that.
Yeah, that's good. Very good, isn't it?
Thank you.
English is the major language for flying. So why not using a name for that?
Why not?
Yeah.
That's one thing I notice a lot when I'm watching various YouTube channels, one of which is Itchy Boots. It's a lady from the Netherlands who travels the world on a motorcycle. And it just strikes me, all the things that I've seen, all the places that I've seen her ride her motorcycle, Africa, Turkey, now I think she's in Kurdistan, Iraq, Kurdistan. There are so many of the signs for restaurants and gas stations and other advertising that have English words. And I'm thinking, what? That's weird to me. I'm just thinking, like, if I go to a country, other than the U.S., I would just see, like, Arabic writing or not Arabic writing, like the what would you call that? The
Arabic?
Kind of
Arabic.
Well, I guess it would be Arabic. Arabic scroll or whatever. Just I'd see a little bit of that, but overwhelmingly I see English, and I'm thinking that just shows you, I guess, the impact that the English language has around the world.
Yeah,
I was gonna blame the British for that.
You think so?
Yeah.
It's the British
blame
fault?
us? You want to thank us?
Blame, thank.
Yes.
It's a fine line.
By the way, that lady on the motorcycle, I haven't driven an itchy boot, but I've driven a motorcycle called an itchy fanny before.
Well, I'm not sure. She doesn't really discuss that on the show, but yeah, I'm not sure what the reference is. But then that's just the name of her channel, Itchy Boots. Somebody turned me on to that channel, and it's. Okay, speaking of itchy fannies, let's go to Captain Nick next. Oh wait, no. Before we do that, we were going to do something else with Steph 2.
Oh, right.
So let's see. I need to figure out where the window is with.
You have some
StreamYard. There it
video,
is.
right? Yeah.
I have some video.
The video.
So I'm going to present, share screen, window, and here we go. I'm hoping that I have it set up. Okay, and we're going to put this on the stage. Okay, go ahead, Liz. Put it on the stage for me. Thank you. And then over here, I'm going to hit the return key, and hopefully we'll start playing some video of Captain Stefan in a caravan, right?
Oh, but that
looks like a caravan to me.
That guy's got his helmet on backwards.
Your co-pilot is facing the wrong direction for some reason. I don't know why. Wait a minute. Must have been something. Yes, I think Stefan said something rude to him, and he's going to leave the airplane.
Yeah, I had beans.
They do that sometimes. It's awful.
Oh yeah, referring to the pigs, the 100. Is it as bad as the 100 pigs, Captain Stefan?
Those are professional jumpers. I mean, single ones. They are not afraid. It's not like the tandem ones. Then maybe sometimes it's getting a little bit.
Oh, the tandem ones are fun.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, sugar.
And last one is out. And then Captain Stefan is activating some levers. Oh, he's pulling a cord.
Your green light's still on.
Which
probably forgot it.
Probably. It's classic. Like people are getting on, they're like, green light's on. He's like, okay, it's fine. Don't jump out now.
It's in controlled airspace, so I do have to get permission to descend. Okay, so that's why I was communicating on first. That true.
Yeah, same with us.
Yeah.
So should I advance?
You're not waving at the camera much, Stefan. We need to see more camera waving.
Here's a different view. Now we're seeing a side profile view of Captain Stefan at the controls.
Very quiet, isn't it? Quiet engine.
It's not.
It is.
No,
I
without
think
this
it's because I don't have
headset,
the volume
yeah.
up.
Yeah. So I think now they're starting to jump out. I don't know if I switched the light. Yes, I already switched the light. They're now starting to jump out, so you
Yeah,
can
'cause
see how I have to react to the different, to the rate shifts.
It's always my favorite when they don't tell you 7 people are going to climb outside at first too. You're like, oh guys, come on, thanks.
And and especially you notice that your authority gets less because they're hanging outside, and you can feel that quite well.
I see you activating the pitch trim to compensate, or you did a couple of seconds.
Did
ago.
I?
Yeah.
It is. I watch the rearview mirror a lot.
So I think the last one is out. I said I called that prior. The last one is out to get ahead of time.
Thinking ahead of the airplane. Wow.
Yeah.
I will say our controllers are pretty good. A lot of times they'll give us our descent clearance when we get our.
I'm
Let me see
very
that
close
yank
to
on-
Hamburg Airport.
Close the door.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of your
Ding.
door closing
What do you have?
ability. We don't.
He's got
one of
very
our
good-
one of our airplanes does. The other one does not. It's just very cold sometimes.
You just leave it open then?
Yeah.
So you just go down the back and close it yourself.
Okay.
What's the matter with
Yeah,
you?
put it on autopilot.
No, it just stays open.
All right, that's very cool. And there's more actually.
There's just one front view, and I think it shows you if you go to the back. Okay, don't worry.
Oh, what do you want me to do?
Just you can see how the pitch no, a little bit further, a minute. You can see now how you pitch down, how much it gives you for the sensation, how much you dive down initially. This one.
Yeah, it's quite a lot.
Yeah, and until you get to a top speed, and then you have to, of course, reduce or pitch up a bit. Otherwise, you're getting too fast.
Like this, and start.
Yeah, we're limited to 155 with the door open.
Yeah.
And then I would show the very end where he actually crashes, but I'm going to...
So talking about looking out for things on the runway, you see those things in the air there?
Oops.
Sometimes they like to be on the runway too. So.
You saw the jumpers are still in the air. That's what I mean. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I
was trying to get Jeff to look at it, but he was too quick on the...
I don't know what happened. I guess you really did crash, and the video ended in nothing but a black screen now. I'm sorry.
Boxes wants to know which engine in your Caravan. Is it a 114A PT6?
It's a PT6, yeah, but don't tell me all the details, please.
Okay.
Okay.
It's an engine.
It's a PT6.
It has a prop on it.
Yeah.
It's not the TPE 331.
It's a black. What is it? A Black
Black
Hawk
Hawk.
conversion.
Black
Yeah.
Hawk.
Yeah. 5 blades.
Very nice.
Yeah, so thanks for sending that in, Stefan. That's kind of cool to see your jumper-dumper environment.
Very cool.
Very similar to flying the A380, I'm sure.
It's exactly the same.
Yes.
All right, Captain Nick, it is now your turn to inform us as to what you have been up to, sir.
Not a lot. We have had no heating in the house, but luckily today, just as we, had the engineer in yesterday, and he managed to get it going. But for most of this week, which is not ideal when you're in the month of December and it's blowing a gale and raining a lot, to lose your heating. But there you go. All fixed. I promised Bob I would mention him because he was the very kind podcaster, and he runs a leadership training organization, all of which really can be found at www.leadingforlife.co.uk, and the leading 4 is a number 4, Leading for Life, and his podcast is Leading for Life Stories, and I have to say he does interview some fascinating people, one of which of course is the subject of today's Plane Tale. So I've got that all done, and then just really worth perhaps mentioning the artwork from last week. We had some... Oh, apparently I've been asked to do a little sweater show. All right, it's got a Spitfire on the front, and on the back it says...
Tally ho ho ho, ho ho ho.
There you see. I was trying to keep references of the Second World War out of this show because of our lovely guest, Stefan.
Too soon?
I don't know. Probably not, knowing Stefan, he won't mind. So the artwork, we had lots of very good suggestions, but I went for the one that was all about hand signals, because we know that there was an aircraft starting, had a bit of a jet pipe fire, and confusion in the hand signals was a bit of a problem. So I thought I would do a demonstration of the APG hand signals that we all use. Of course, the middle figure is...
I was thinking that was the one that you would choose, my favorite hand signal. The middle fingers.
The one with the four arms and four legs. Yeah, absolutely. So he is the APG Vitruvian Man, as originally portrayed by Leonardo da Vinci.
You do.
And he's a brilliant. He can marshal two airplanes at once, which is fantastic. And unlike the Vitruvian Man, we're very pleased because he keeps his trousers on. So we're
family show.
Absolutely, I think that's really, really vital. But around him, I scattered some of our prime hand signals. Of course, there is the FIG signal on the left, top left, which
show,
is,
ladies and gentlemen.
Sorry,
a vaguely obscene or offensive signal. But in the
I was thinking
APG
that
world,
you didn't have that in there, but you did actually include my favorite signal.
well, that's the one next door. The FIG one is the one with the thumb protruding out of between your fingers, which
I thought you were pointing
we in APG use for fly away when you want someone to go. And if you can't comply with something, then we use the middle digit one, which is the next one along. And then there's an I love signal, which of course only applies to APG. And if you see one of those, it means someone loves APG.
Yes.
One of the issues between the marshaller and the pilots in the incident we had last week on the show was that he didn't indicate that the airplane was on fire. He was trying to mouth it. But of course, the burning hand is the usual indication that your airplane, sending a hand on fire, that your airplane is on fire.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the captain usually replies to most of these signals by slapping his hand over his face, which really, of course, means you've done a good job. Yeah, that's a really good job. Thank you very much indeed. And, of course, underneath is the marshaller there cutting his throat with the cutting the throat sign, which he says, obviously, I saw that. Your good job sign. A bit up from that, there's the captain there that doesn't like being photographed. No photographs, please. And underneath that is the famous Vulcan pilot, live long and watch APG. So we've got APG in hand signals from
Curious
ASL.
that you use the ASL version, not the BSL.
Yes, I did. I thought it was more appropriate, perhaps ASL. If we go to the other side, we've got another pilot indicating what he would do when he gets to the bar, and that's ask for two beers, please. My friend will pay, and depending on which language you want, we can accommodate that. And then the first of the, we're going to come on to that. If we go to the next one, Liz, we can see. There we go. We've got the APG logo, and our marshal is wearing it on his head and on his jacket. It does actually, particularly upside down. It looks a bit like Mercury or something. And on his waistband of his jacket, we've got the hard version of the show number 6, 4, and 3. The narrows there indicating 6, 4, 3. But to make it easier for anyone who does poor eyesight, we've got, again, ASL 643 show. So if you thought that was APG show, you were wrong. I'm sorry. And that was last week's artwork.
Yeah, a lot of detail. Well, usually there is a lot of detail.
A bit of fun. Bit of fun, yes.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Love it. What have I been up to? Well, I've been just, let's see, I was in a campground last week, and the low temperatures stayed above freezing. But I knew that tomorrow and early next week here, the low temperatures are going to be in the mid 20s, probably -5, -6 Celsius. I'm welcome for what? Oh, because you sent us the Canadian air coming down. Yeah, thanks. Because of that, I'm being very conservative with my home. I decided to go ahead and winterize for a second time, and then spend the week here in the Roswell, Alpharetta area in a hotel, and that's where I am right now. I'm in the Courtyard Marriott Hotel at Avalon in Alpharetta, right across the street. A really nice upscale shopping center with all kinds of great shops and restaurants, including a great store called Apple is across the street as well. Maybe I'll go over there for my Christmas birthday present, whatever that may be. I'm
Good
not sure
idea.
yet. Yeah, it's a very nice hotel. Very slow here as far as accommodations and what did we decide? Occupancy levels here are. I said, yeah, it seems like maybe you're below 50%, and he goes, we're about 30% right now. Not a lot of folks staying in the hotel, which is fine with me. And
So hopefully you got a discount for being a good guest.
No, I used some of the points that I had collected in this past year, and my credit cards associated with it as well. I have a Marriott Monboy credit card, so I had some points available, and so I decided to use those. But it was actually it was a lower number of points than you would have to normally use for 7 nights here. So went ahead and took advantage of that, and so now I'm closer to my church for all the singing that we're going to be doing this weekend, and also in the early next week, Christmas Eve mostly, and also Christmas Day. And my birthday, day after Christmas, I'll be here, and then I'm checking out on Friday of next week. Where I'm going to be after that, I don't know. It all depends on the weather. It looks like the weather is going to be more mild again, so I may, de-winterize the RVS and find a spot somewhere in the area, or heck, I might just head south and head down to Florida and do some exploring down there. I'm not sure yet. I'll let you know, though. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, okay. Nick Camacho, it was nice having you with us here today, sir. We've heard that you're going to need to leave us. Anything you want to say to everybody before you go?
Nope. Just Merry Christmas. Looking forward to being back again next year.
And go Chiefs, right?
Brilliant.
Yep,
Good to see you, Nick.
Great to see you. In 2 hours. They play today. So.
Oh, do they? Who are they playing today?
The Texans, Houston Texans.
Ooh. So any going to be any problem with winning that one, or?
The Texans are pretty good. The Chiefs quarterback got slightly injured last week, Patrick Mahomes, but he says he's okay. So we will see.
All right. Well, good luck.
Thank you. See you guys later.
Merry Christmas.
Right.
See ya.
Yep. See you.
Happy New Year.
Cheers, Merry Christmas.
Bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
So I suppose we can do the coffee fund. What do you think? Okay.
Johnny, how much more coffee? No thanks.
I love coffee. I love tea. I love the APG community. Coffee and tea and the Java and me. A cup, a cup, a cup, a cup, a cup.
Oh, yeah. The Coffee Fund. It's your way, dear listener, to support our show financially. I was thinking, come on, where are those words, Jeff? Come on, you can think. Coffee Fund is, as I said, a way to support the show financially. A couple of different ways to do it. One is the Coffee Fund Classic method, and we had 2 gentlemen give us nice, generous donations for, I guess, Christmas time. Lucas Egerth and Michael Smith. Again, thank you so much for the very nice contributions to the APG. And Lucas sent a little note with his his donation, and it says, everyone loves chapter images. Okay, because in an earlier show I had mentioned, I'm not sure anybody actually pays attention to them or even knows we have chapter images. But of course, Lucas is one that votes for yes, I like them, thank you. And he's speaking for everyone, apparently. Yeah, absolutely. So thank you very much, Lucas and Michael. We also have something called Patreon, where you can become a patron of the show, and no new patrons for this week. So if you're interested in being part of our Coffee Fund Cadre or Coffee Bar Club, please head over to airlinepilotguy.com/coffee. You'll be glad you did, and we will too. Thank you. All right. Okay. Let's see here. Shall we wait for Captain Nick to come back? Okay. I'll get things set up for his return. And you're set up for the Plaintails slide. Okay, very good. Looks like he's almost back with us. And I even set up on my Stream Deck a button for this Plaintail.
A button.
A button.
Button.
Yeah, but let's not talk about him because he might hear what we're saying about him.
I was getting a bit hot in my pullover.
All right. So we just finished the Coffee Fund segment, Captain Nick, and we're going to go ahead to the Plaintail.
Oh, excellent.
All right. Let's move on and do this episode's Plaintail from the old pilot. And this is Flight Lieutenant Colin Bell, DFC, Part 2.
The Old Pilot's Plain Tales. Flight Lieutenant Colin Bell, DFC, Part 2.
In this tale, we continue with the story of Flight Lieutenant Colin Bell, as told by the man himself, a World War II Mosquito pilot who served with the Royal Air Force. At the age of 103, Colin was kind enough to talk to us about his wartime experiences, flying with 608 Squadron, part of the Pathfinder Force, out of RAF Downham Market in Norfolk, England.
When I arrived at Downham Market, we had knitting huts behind a church, which was Bexley Church, and the officers' mess was in the priory, or whatever they called it. But the actual conditions, sleeping conditions, were very primitive. We were sort of 12 or 14 aircrew in a knitting hut. It was perishing cold, and it's very primitive. As one of our chaps says, this isn't officers' accommodation. Well, it may not have been, but that's what we had to put up with. And the objective was to get aircraft in the air and attack Germany. And everything else was, less important. Well, normally we did 2 nights on and 1 night off. The nights that we had off, we had a choice of either going up to the Boozers in King's Lynn, or alternatively going down to Cambridge in the other direction, and getting a meal in one of the Greek restaurants. It has to be understood that under wartime regulations, the most anyone was allowed to pay for a meal was, in today's currency, 30p. So you couldn't really get much more than a sort of spam fritters and that sort of thing. But of course the Greeks were all into the black market activity, and if you were prepared to pay the money, not 30p, but perhaps 4 or 6 times that figure, you could get almost anything you want, whether it was chicken or steak or whatever. So we used to go down there and patronize because what else could we spend our money on? my wife, because I was married by then, my wife joined me on just outside the station. I was lucky enough to secure part of a house in Downham Market where I lived with my wife, and a charming couple looked after us. And I always say that my wife was the one who ought to have got any decorations and awards, because she used to see me fly out and have to wait for me to come back. I brainwashed her into thinking that I'd always come back, and I'd probably brainwashed myself. So unfortunately, it all worked out that way. I did really live a very comfortable life. I mean, if you want to fight a war in the air, you can't have it better than that, can you? I think it was much more pressure on my wife, because we had a little girl by then, only 6 weeks old, and I think the pressure on her was very considerable. But she was a wonderful girl, and she'd been in the Women's Royal Air Force until she married me, and then of course once she became pregnant, she had to accept a discharge, and but she was a wonderful girl, and we were married for 73 years. But sadly, I lost her 8 years ago, and I'm just now an old geezer doing his best.
We asked Colin if he could tell us what it was like to prepare for and fly his bombing missions.
Well, I think it followed the normal routine for a bomber crew. We've flight tested the aircraft in the morning. In the afternoon, the navigators were told what courses they had to fly. All the information was fed down by group. So the navigators probably knew a lot more than I did or the pilots did. Bear in mind that we had one navigator, one pilot. Then, of course, come the evening, we'd all go in, pilots and navigators together, would go into the main briefing room, and they would we'd be addressed by the flight commander and the station commander, and they'd pull back the curtain and show what the target was. And, of course, the worst target of all was Berlin. Nobody wanted to go to Berlin. Berlin was a very dangerous place. They gave you a hot time going in over the target and going out. And, well, there we are, you know. I had to go to Berlin 13 times, and that was a bit worrisome, but there are, you know, it was war, and in war you have to do as you're told and get on with the job, don't you?
I asked Colin if he was at all superstitious and what it was like to fly on his 13th Berlin mission.
No, I think I was a bit thick. I hadn't got much. I hadn't got much imagination. There was a wonderful pilot, Sailor Milan, in the Battle of Britain, and he said in his experience, survivors were those possessed of not too much imagination. I know that fear cures because I had a perfect example of it. We had a Canadian couple come in, a pilot and a navigator. And before I go any further, may I say that the Canadians were probably some of the best crews. They were exceedingly brave, they were highly skilled, and they got press on the spirit. And I was lucky enough to have a Canadian navigator, and he was a brilliant man. But this particular pair of Canadians were young, and they were quite obviously appalled at the prospect of going out to Berlin, because it was their first trip. And when they saw what the target was, you know, it was obvious that they were terrified, to put it no higher than that. And I could see they were upset, so I walked. I'd done about 30 operations by then, so I walked across and I said, you know, is there anything I can do to help you? You know, and all I could get out of the pilot was he kept saying over and over again, I'm not coming back from this operation. And his navigator looked exceedingly upset too. And after I couldn't get anywhere with them, so I walked back to my Canadian navigator, who was an ex-lumberjack. He was a very tough hombre. And I said, I can't get anywhere with them. You go across and have a go. And he was with them for about 5 minutes. And he came back to me and said, well, I can't do any more than you've done. All I can get out of this chap was a repetition of saying, I know I'm not coming back. And they never did. So I think fear can kill you. We never know, of course, whether they were shot down or whether they spiraled out of control or whatever. But the chap's forecast when I'm not coming back, he was dead right.
We asked Colin if he could expand a little on how the squadron attacks were conducted.
Well, of course, we flew in isolation. Only on one occasion did I fly in the formation, and I had this brilliant navigator. I picked him out because he was old. He was all of 28 when I was... I remember we were asked to crew up, and people were crewing up all over the place, and some guy jumped on a stool and said, who wants a drunken navigator? And I thought, well, I don't want him. I was very picky, and I waited, and nobody particularly wanted to crew up with me, and I didn't see anybody I particularly wanted to crew up with until I saw this elderly navigator of 28 sitting at a table looking pretty miserable with a Canada flash on his shoulder. So I walked up to him and I said, have you found yourself a pilot? Nope, he says. So I said, what experience have you had? And he said, what experience have you had? Which I thought was fair enough. And I said, well, I've been an instructor out in the States. And he said, oh, looking a bit mollified. He said, well, I've been a navigation instructor in Canada. I said, well, you found yourself a pilot. And, of course, I found myself the very, very best navigator any man could wish to have. He wasn't much fun, but then I wasn't looking for somebody that was fun. I was looking for somebody that was a good navigator, and he was more than good. He was brilliant. And I think we formed a good team. But, of course, nobody can explain to you what your first operation is like. Our first operation was on a place called Hanover, and we flew out to Hanover accurately. But when we got there, it was surrounded in cloud, and we didn't know what to do. And we sort of circled around, and then, of course, the German anti-aircraft fire opened up on us, and it caused us a bit of alarms. But eventually we saw a marker that was going down, so we bombed on that, and we got a reputation of being a press-on crew because we're the only one on the flight that bombed on a marker. But it was just... But on the way back, and this was our first trip, we passed over Emden, and this was the only occasion I think my navigator let me down. We looked ahead and we saw some flashes in the sky, and my navigator, Doug, said to me, I wonder what they're shooting at, you see. Well, next moment, the Emden, you probably realise, is a naval base, and the naval gunners were absolutely shit hot. And they hammered away at us, and it caused me an enormous amount of alarm, and I put the aircraft into a dive, and we dropped down from about 25,000 feet to 10,000 feet, and I think we exceeded all known safety limits for a Mosquito. In fact, I had the devil's own job pulling it out of dive, and I only did it with the aid of a trim, elevator trim. And eventually I got it out of the dive, and it could have brought our tour to our very first flight on a tour to Abrupt 10. But anyway, we got away with it, and we became more accustomed to being under fire. And one develops, you get experience, and you know better how to deal with it. Well, the only time I flew in formation was when we were told that there was an engineering works out at Duisburg, and Harris wanted it blotted out. So he arranged for a whole squadron of Mosquitoes to go in formation behind a lead aircraft that had got oboe. Oboe was a very, very advanced form of navigation in those days, and it was accurate within a few yards on the ground. And so then we formatted it behind this oboe lead aircraft, and we were told that when we're approaching the target, he'd say approaching, and then when he said bomb bay open, we all opened our bomb bay. It's all done, over the open air, and then when he said bombs away, we would all jettison our bombs at the same time as he jettisoned his. Well, it was 100% successful. We just wiped out the engineering work. So, but that was the only time I flew in formation, and at 10,000 feet. And it was it wasn't a nice experience. We took a hell of a hammering from anti-aircraft fire, and they brought one of our chaps down, but fortunately it wasn't me.
Colin went on to explain a little of how he coped with the pressure of these wartime missions.
Well, to be perfectly frank, and I've already told you I was a bit thick, I didn't find the pressure all that great. It was just a job, and I got on with it. When we were flying, we were flying. When we weren't flying, we were relaxing. And in my case, I used to join up with my wife, and we'd push a pram with my baby daughter in it down to the Crown Public House in Downham Market, and join up with other air crew and sing songs and drink beer. And it was all really a very sort of a happy occasion. I can't remember any particular pressure. All I know is that in the run-up to the target, of course, we had to keep it straight and level, and that was the most dangerous time from anti-aircraft fire. Incidentally, I make the point here, there was no German propeller-driven aircraft that could fly as fast as we could. So night fighters weren't a particular problem, although in an attempt to overcome this problem, the Germans used to stack Focke-Wulf 190s at 30,000 feet, and they called them wild boar squadrons, and they used to dive down on us and try and pick us off. But if you saw these guys coming, you could usually avoid them, and then they'd whistle by, and by the time they'd sort of worked their way to try and catch up with you again, it was too late. You had gone. So once, of course, you found the target and you bombed, and I wasn't a marker. I emphasize I was not a marker. We did other things apart from backup on bombing, but the camera flashed as soon as you'd dropped the bombs, so they could see back at base whether you'd gone over the target. I think the camera, quite apart from recording the result, was also a good indication as to whether, as a crew, you'd done your job, or whether you'd. I mean, it was known that some American crews just stayed off to Sweden and got themselves interned, but I think that's a bit hard, because the Americans who flew B-17s were the bravest of the brave. They had a tour of 25 missions, and the majority of them never got beyond 8, and many of them never got beyond 5. And I take my hat off to these guys. They were they were the victims of the top brass who believed that if you flew in formation and you could shoot down anything that came within range, well, that was the theory. But like so many theories, it didn't work. And they paid a very, very heavy price. But they, as I say, they were the bravest of the brave. And the only person that I knew that completed 25 missions was Jimmy Stewart, the actor. And he did it. God knows how he got away with it, but there we are. Yeah. Well, usually we took off behind the heavy bomber force, and because we'd overtake them, and then we'd arrive first. And we would be vectored round, not through them. But on one occasion, one group navigation officer sort of screwed up, and he put us flying through the main bomber stream at night. And there was it was dark, it was raining, and the first thing you would see is a outline of a bomber, whoosh, you see, because we'd be going perhaps 100 miles an hour faster than they were going, and we whoosh past it, and you think, bloody hell, what's that? And the next moment it'd be another one you'd go past, and it was very dangerous indeed. And when I got back, I said to one of these gunners on Lancaster's, because we shared a airfield. We had 635 Squadron, which was a Lancaster Pathfinder Squadron, and we had, of course, 608 Squadron, which is my squadron with Mosquitoes. And I said to one of these gunners in the Lancaster Squadron, where we had this very unfortunate experience, well, he said, it's a good thing you got by without us seeing you, because if you come up behind us, he said, we didn't wait to see if a twin-engine aircraft was friend or foe. We'd immediately fired at it. So we did not exactly thank that group navigation officer. If we'd had our way, he'd have finished up with a high-pitched voice.
Why, thanks again to Colin for taking the time to speak with us, and to Bob Judson of the Leading for Life podcast and Leadership Development Organisation, who invited me to join him when we met the remarkable Colin Bell. You can expect to hear more of this interview on the next Plain Tales.
I can't wait. Wow, this man is amazing.
Yeah, he's full of stories, isn't he? I love it.
And just so to remind everyone, he is just shy of his 104th birthday, right?
Yeah, March, I think, is when he turns 104. Long may he be with us, because it's rare to be able to speak to these people in person. I realise, of course, that his attitudes reflect the man he is and the period of our history that he flew in. But just as a fellow aviator, I think we all must appreciate him as the person he is and enjoy his stories, because they are remarkable.
Wow. Amazing. I'm looking forward to hearing more. I mean, what did he say, 73 years he was married to...
Yeah, he almost made it 75. Huh? That's
remarkable. Yeah, incredible.
75.
And
don't we call that an iron wedding? We go, you have in Germany we do that. We have how many years you are married, you give them a certain title. 50 years is like the golden marriage anniversary, and 75 is like the iron.
Wow.
Yeah.
They couldn't think of anything more precious than that. Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Captain Nick, you're doing awfully good for 90, and so he's just proof that 103.
Well, Julie and I are coming up to our golden. Well, it's not next year;
I'm
it's
talking
the
about
year
your
after.
age.
I think. I think I wear it well, don't you think?
Yeah, you do.
Yes.
You do.
I don't know if you. I looked at the picture when he was saying that he was flying over Hanover, and was dropping bombs. And I saw the picture. I said, "Is that Hanover?" And I looked down, and I thought, "Yes, it is. I think it is because you see a lake there, and it's called the Masch Lake, Maschsee." And it's the structure approximately, but you see in the middle there is something. It looks like whatever, some green or whatever. And I know that the Nazis they was altering the shape of the sea to make it difficult to recognize it from above. Even Hamburg has a lake in the middle of my hometown has a big lake, and they built a fake town in the smaller part of the lake in Hamburg to look so the bomb will drop in the water. And here also it looks like they kind of altered the shape and put some structures in the lake so to make it look different.
Oh, very clever.
Absolutely, yes. In fact, I think we'll probably have it on the next one. Colin mentions the fact that the Luftwaffe got the idea of them dropping their coloured markers to as part of the Pathfinder force to indicate where targets were, and they used to deploy dummy coloured markers 20 or 30 miles away from the actual target to try and divert the bombers away from the cities. But apparently it was with a good navigator and a good eye for colour, because they never really apparently managed to get the colours quite right. It was, I gather, that's what Colin says, quite easy to tell which were the false ones. But just out of interest, I'm anyone from the show who listens to us near Downham Market, I'd be very interested to know something, because Liz, if you could put up that close-up. There we go. In the bar picture from the Crown Hotel in Downham Market, there is a picture of a mosquito just to the left of the bar, above the candelabra, and I couldn't make out from the quality of the picture exactly what it was, but I can tell it's a mosquito. But I would be very interested, if you're a regular or just fancy a drive out to a pub and have a beer, if you were able to get a nice close-up picture of that, or just look at it for me and write in to say this is a picture of it, because it looks like there's something written on it. I'd love to know what's there, because this is the very bar that Colin used to spend during the war with his wife and baby. He used to go out in the evenings to Downham Market to this very pub. So I'd just be interested to know what that is and if it's
I'm on it.
If it's relevant. Oh, thanks. Yeah. Cheers, Jeff. Well, you've got that RV. You've got to use it for something.
Yeah,
Drive to Downham Market.
I got all kinds
for
of
me.
time. iHall Boxes says the man got through a world war. I'm sure marriage was easy. Well, I wouldn't go that far.
I love it. I think he found himself a very lovely woman by the sounds of it. Yes.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
Exactly. That's the trick.
Very entertaining and informative plain tales. Thank you, Nick.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving the whole. I love the experience of chatting to Colin, meeting, have a meal with him, but I'm enjoying reliving it again, producing these. So this is great fun.
Mm-hmm.
I must correct. It's 75 years. It's not Iron wedding. It's the crown jewel wedding. So they almost made it there.
Yeah, I looked it up as well. For us, it's the diamond one, and I don't go, oh God, not another diamond. Oh, for heaven's sake!
A diamond is 60 years in German.
Oh, is that right? Oh, we're all different, aren't we?
Right.
All right.
Oh, great. We've got time to do some feedback.
Yeah, I think it's time for some feedback for sure. All right, let's hit the bumper.
Captain, incoming message.
First one we're going to do, and several of these, I think 4 of them or so, have been held over from earlier episodes, but we told you we're going to get to them. This first one we're going to cover is from Nir in Tel Aviv. Ben Gurion International Airport follow-up. Well, maybe it's not. Maybe he's not in Tel Aviv. I'm not sure about that part, but it's regarding that. And I don't know, Nick, do you want to take this because you and Nir have a relationship.
Yeah, we've met and passed information about plane tales and things, so I'm more than happy to.
Okay.
Ben, Nia writes a quick update regarding Tel Aviv Airport throughout this war that's been going on here for over a year. Golly, is it? Yeah, it's the way it is, I guess. The 3 Israeli airlines continue to fly on a very regular basis at full capacity. They do pretty well at avoiding air defense interceptors in this very tightly controlled airspace. El Al, the biggest and the only local airline that owns wide-body aircraft, Boeing 777s and 787s, is overbooked, and I'm unable to keep up with the demand for long haul to North America and Asia. Needless to say, the prices have soared as well, well above their cruising altitudes. Most of the European airlines have stopped flying to Israel. All the US airlines, namely United, American, Delta, have also completely halted their operations for the time being. Interestingly, Etihad, Emirates and Fly Dubai have continued to fly here, picking up passengers from many other airlines that stopped. Captain Nick indicated that air crews may have had to volunteer for flights to Tel Aviv, but from what I hear here, when BA is still flying, they don't want their crews to lay over in Tel Aviv. The London to Tel Aviv route took them to Larnaca in Cyprus, where they did their layovers. That was before they stopped flying in. The next day, they'd fly to Larnaca, Tel Aviv, which takes about an hour, and with a short turnaround, continue their flight back to Tel Aviv, to Heathrow non-stop. Captain Nick's Virgin have unfortunately stopped their Tel Aviv service. Yeah, I think they would have loved to continue, but I suspect our government has probably declared the place as being, temporarily unsafe. So Virgin have to comply with government restrictions that are put on them. Anyway, thanks very much. Nia writes all the very best to us, and all the very best to you as well. Nia, thank you very much indeed for writing in and keeping us updated.
Yep, thank you very much for that. Oh, and we have some breaking news. Apparently, something exciting going on in Steph's world, enough that she actually left her post to take a picture, and there it is.
Santa was in town.
Santa!
Yeah,
Oh.
Santa's here. He's a little early, but I mean, it's nice for the fire department to chauffeur him around.
Well, he better
the
be
fire
early
department
if he's gonna go around the world in a fire engine. He needs to be really early.
with all the lights and sirens on. What's that?
Oh, super.
He's trying to get the lay of the land, I think.
Yes,
just,
little
for his
reconnaissance
run.
mission.
Yeah.
So yeah, I figured it was pretty noisy, so I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna say anything right now anyway on the show. So I went outside, took a little video clip, and they threw a Twix to me, a little candy. That was nice.
Great,
excellent
picture there.
And now my neighbor has their leaf blower going, so apologies for all the ambiance now.
I don't hear it actually.
And I can still, oh no, okay, it's pretty loud to me, and I can still hear Santa on the fire truck like the next street over still. So
you can hear him ho ho hoing.
Ho ho ho. No, I hear the fire truck, all the sirens. It's quite loud.
I didn't hear any of that either.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, good. All right.
That microphone does a great job of getting rid of all that stuff.
Yes.
Awesome.
Good. I'm glad for it.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Sorry for the little Christmas detour there. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's a sort of our Christmas show, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, look at me. I'm all dressed up.
I did. Liz asked if I wore my hat out there. I did. They probably thought I was like some super Christmas fan or something.
Yeah.
I was like,
a Santa groupie.
They're like, all right, you can have a Twix. There's no kids around. Here you go.
Santa groupie. I wonder if Santa does have groupie. I bet he does.
I'm sure. Sure.
Just like mine. Okay. Moving on for sure. This is from Stephen in Bergen, Norway. And let's see. Actually, this is another one that's kind of Nick-centric. Captain Nick. In fact, I'll read it and then you can respond. Hi, Captain Nick. I was recently visiting my son near Bergen, Norway. Came across these plaques. I thought you would find the photos of interest. I know you have already done a plane tale on 617 Squadron, so this may contribute to your fount of knowledge. I really enjoy your plane tales, and I'm currently listening through the back catalog. Hope to meet you at a future APG meetup. Kind regards, Steve. And Liz is showing some of these photos, which we'll have in our show notes for you to see these plaques that Steve is referring.
It's fascinating. This 617, was formed and gained most of its fame from the attacks on the big dams of the Ruhr during the war. But they did carry on carrying out quite specialist missions, including, in this case, taking part in the attack on the U-boat pens Bruno up in Norway. No, I think it's Norway. So correct me if I'm wrong. And this crew were shot down and they bailed out. And I don't know quite how many of them survived, but they've got these lovely plaques. Unfortunately, a lot of the information is in a foreign language.
I was hoping that you were able to read that in Norwegian, please, that top part.
Yeah.
No, don't tell him that, Liz.
Yeah, that's where I got that's where I got my first bit of information from Liz. That they were attacking the Bruno U pens, but it doesn't say. He landed in his parachute. I'm assuming he was okay. But that's very interesting. Apparently, they took off from Woodall Spa. Now, I had been up to Woodall Spa this summer to go to the hotel, and I took some pictures in the bar there that was used as an officers' mess by the officers of 617 Squadron, and they've got a lot of memorabilia there, which is quite fantastic. And they were armed with a tall boy, one of the I don't know quite whether the tall boy was a 7-ton monster bomb or the 10-ton. I think 10-ton one was the Grand Slam from memory. But the tall boy was another very tall, slim bomb. The idea was it would drop and achieve a huge speed in its free fall down towards the target and then bury itself in beside the target. And then when it exploded, it would create a sort of earthquake effect that could shatter big, highly strong concrete places like V3 guns that were going to fire on London, or in this case, U-boat pens. So there's some very interesting information, and thank you very much indeed. If I ever do any further stories on the raids by 617, I'll be certain to be able to use this as information. So thanks very much indeed for writing. Appreciate it.
Yeah, let's get out
we
of
seem
the
to be
World War
seem
II
to be
world.
getting a lot of old water stuff, and I feel I do feel a bit sorry for Stefan there. Taking a few hits.
I didn't do that on purpose. I just wasn't thinking. Well, next one is from Texas Charlie, and the title of his feedback to us is "It's a Load of Crap." Okay.
Oh,
well, he's got the right show, that's for sure.
50% is at least.
And he says, sounds like Captains Nick and Jeff got out of the business just in time. And he sends us a link to an article from, we haven't seen one from Paddle Your Own Canoe in a while, Liz. All right, Airbus wants to install a radio-equipped toilet in airplane cockpits to eliminate the need for 2 pilots.
Why does it have to be radio equipped?
Well, they're thinking that essentially this toilet is going to be part of something that they're calling I guess it's already exists, or maybe it's a concept. Extended Minimum Crew Operations, EMCO, is a euphemism for single pilot operations in which just one pilot is at the controls of a packed wide-body aircraft during the cruise phase of flight. The hope is that this will result in attractive cost savings for the airlines, because that's really what it's all about, I think. On ultra long-haul flights, there will no longer be a need for 3 or 4 pilots operating on the same flight. Under the extended minimum crew operations, EMCO, one pilot would remain alone in the cockpit for up to 3 hours at a time while the second pilot is sleeping. And then they go through what some of the things that they had thought about as far as making this happen, for a 3-hour period for a single pilot in the cockpit. And they were thinking, well, how do we kind of, avoid some of the problems that, a need to visit the lavatory could happen here. And at first they were talking about maybe deliberately dehydrating or having pilots deliberately dehydrate themselves. That doesn't sound like a good, healthy idea. Before starting a long shift at the controls, and also, as well as requiring them to eat a high-protein, low-residue diet to mitigate the risk of them needing to defecate.
Is that a satire? Is
It's
it
a
satire? Satire?
No, well, I don't think so.
Actually,
You'd think-
Stefan, I'm thinking they don't need these in an Airbus. They need these on jump planes, like on busy
There you
days.
go.
Yeah, that'd be very useful.
Well, I mean, this next paragraph, you might take some tips from Dr. Steph.
I think
The
Go
The
ahead.
agency also looked at other outlandish solutions like making pilots wear adult diapers or equipping cockpits with disposable urine collectors. Thankfully,
Well, I've had
the
to use
authors-
those in the Air Force, but it's a bit
That was fun,
desperate when
probably,
you're
huh?
on a big airliner and you've got to, resort to that. That's terrible.
Yeah. Well, anyway, thankfully the EASA study discounted all of these potential solutions, coming to the conclusion that diapers, special diets, urine collectors were not acceptable nor feasible. Instead, they came up with this great idea. So let's see. To address the issue, Airbus is now developing a proposal to install an open toilet in the flight deck. Quote, they're going to get rid of that second jump seat behind the captain. Oh, that's going to make the commuters happy. And put in a toilet. Think about that for a minute. That's no pilot ops. Pilots at the Airline Pilots Association Board of Directors meeting were recently warned. So when you have to relieve yourself, there's no one at the controls. They're even proposing a comms panel at that toilet. Here's the radio aspect. You can look forward to the controls and instrumentation, and if ATC calls, well, you can answer it while you're resting on the can.
Yeah, I am now, I imagine, got a stuck mic, and at the same time, a wild attack of winds. I mean,
if Airbus
Yes.
gets its way, EMCO could be ready to test on its A350 model as early as 2027. Within the next 5 years, single pilot operations could be introduced on freighter Airbus A320 aircraft. And of course, it talks about the fact that many groups, ALPA included, are opposing this entire proposal. And it just, the point is, I think, it is a load of crap, but I mean, the point is made. You're sitting on the toilet, and then all of a sudden, the autopilot system just decides to do something extremely weird. And, you're between a rock and a hard place there, right? Sitting on the can while the airplane is going out of control. That's not a good idea. Hi, Hallboxes. I'm looking forward to the JFK audio recording of an A350 crew panning their toilet indications if it's on the avionics network. Yeah, we have a pan. We were seeing there's an error in the toilet. Or can.
Oh,
not
very
pan.
good.
Very good.
good.
Liz, good one.
Yeah, I'm not very impressed with them in this article saying if Airbus gets its way. Airbus does what its customers want. So these, whilst it's probably, looking at this thinking this will be what our customers want in the next generation, or they've probably already spoken to them, Airbus don't come up with this just on their own. Just, how can we make flying less safe? By reducing the number of pilots. So this will be driven by the industry, not by the manufacturers.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about money. How can
the
aircraft manufacturers make more money by trying to give the airlines what they want?
And
exactly right. So they can
if
sell
you're-
more airplanes.
If you're seriously talking with I have several friends working at Airbus in Hamburg, and if you're seriously talking about that problem, they say, I rather build an airplane with no pilot, but one pilot, which we have to all put the safety stuff in it to prevent him from pressing the wrong button. So it's no, honestly, what you do with a pilot who has a heart attack and suddenly goes wild in the cockpit, or then you rather said no pilot at all. That is much more manageable. You don't need a toilet as well. I mean,
it's true.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
that was an interesting one. Thank you so much, Texas Charlie, for sending that one in. And I'm sure that, or I hope that this will never go through. Yes, Liz? Okay. We're going to go on to this next one from Trent Hopkinson. Let's see. This is an article from Pulse News, Tasmania. Retired Qantas 717 aircraft returns to Tasmanian skies in surprise comeback. Over a month after Qantas announced the final day of 717 flying, I announced that last December. For its Boeing 717 aircraft, one of the planes has made a surprise return to Tasmanian skies. The aircraft registered Victor Hotel Yankee Quebec Whiskey and the Qantas Link Tasmanian Devil livery has managed to avoid retirement for now. It startled local plane spotters last week when it made the journey down to Hobart from Sydney, having just completed a brief post-retirement stint in Western Australia. A Qantas spokesperson confirmed to Pulse the aircraft will be hanging around a little bit longer. They said the plane is continuing some commercial services and would publicize a new date of retirement once it's set. Yeah, interesting. They really don't say exactly why. Maybe they just needed the capacity, right?
Yeah, or perhaps it's cheaper than getting a new A220.
I think eventually, though, they are going to get rid of it. It's just kind of a temporary thing. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so thank you, Trent, for sending in that little piece of news. And I think he did that because he knows that I flew the Boeing, air quotes, 717. Yeah, I know. I'm not coming back. Sorry. All right. This next one is from, let me see if I can get this right. I got to set this up first. Can you, oh, I'm not sharing it, am I? Okay, present. I'll fix that right now. Boom. And okay, there you go. Okay, this is from Luis. And I just wanted to make sure I did pronounce his name correctly. I'm going to say Caceres. Let's see how I did.
Cáceres.
Oh, not well. Cáceres.
Cáceres.
Cáceres. Okay, very good. Thank you for that.
Cáceres.
Okay, that's enough.
Do we have the correct pronunciation
I don't
of
know.
your name?
Would you please stop talking? Okay. I think it's going to stop now. Anyway, dear Captains Jeff and Nick, Dr. Steph, Citizen Camacho, and producer extraordinaire, Liz. Oh, he knows how to do this. Yeah. He knows how to do this. All right, I've been a listener since 2016, shortly before I had a chance encounter with Captain Jeff on the plane train in Atlanta airport after one of my weekly commutes between Atlanta and San Juan, Puerto Rico. I remember Captain Jeff's parting words, "Send some feedback." I say that all the time. Well, I have struggled to come up with a question worthy of the listener's time, and the best I can come up with is this from my years as an airplane owner. A side note, I lost my medical shortly after soloing, so I had to rely on professional pilots. Oh, that's too bad. Anyway, in my experience with private jets, I recall that the flight crew always threw out the buckets to test the deployment of the thrust reversers while taxiing for takeoff, and have seen this done at least in other Gulfstreams. However, in my experience flying as a passenger on scheduled airlines, I do not recall that ever being done, well, except for Eastern, saving on tugs and drivers by backing out their DC-9s in their latter years. Can you guys shed some light on why this would be a thing in the Part 91 and Part 135 worlds and not the 121 world? And then he has some other questions for me. So I'll quickly address that first question. I think a lot of it depends, well, on the airline's SOPs and restrictions. It also depends on, I not routinely, but I, on occasion, especially in the 727, I use the thrust reverser, the buckets, a lot. That just kind of helped, so I didn't have to jam on brakes or anything, and it was a nice way to. Oh, and the bucket. Yeah, I should clarify what I mean by buckets. The buckets, not the toilet in the cockpit, but the thrust reverser buckets that come out on that type of reversing system. Now, a lot of the the air engines have thrust reverse that uses the vanes, or what do they call that? Cascading vanes, I think. Not vanes, cascading. Is that right? Now it's sounding like I'm using the wrong word. But anyway, so where you don't have the big giant buckets coming out. But a lot of airlines will say, well, don't do that because that kind of, especially the buckets that go vertically, vanes. Okay. I guess in my mind I was thinking V-E-I-N-S and not V-A-N-E-S. Yeah, vanes. The buckets that go more vertically, like one on top and one on the bottom, you do have the possibility of throwing up FOD from the ground, and so you have to be careful about that. If, however, your engines are tail-mounted engines, they're usually a pretty good ways above the ground, and so that is not as much of a risk as the ones that are closer to the ground, like wing-mounted thrust reverse buckets, whatever. But on the 727, I used especially the number 2 engine reverse, but that was a different style. Or did they even have reverse in this? Yeah, we did have. Look, it's been such a long time since I've flown the 727. I can't remember. I think the number 2 engine had some reverse thrust available to it. Anyway, and the reason why, yeah, it must have been, because I think the reason why we could use the number 2 is that you didn't have as much of a risk with FOD being kicked up from the surface of the taxiways and such, as you would with the 1 and 3, the ones that are on the sides. Anyway, but so I'm thinking on the Gulfstreams and the other BizJets that I don't know if they were actually doing it just to test them, but more to kind of just aid and taxiing the airplane on the ground, because these little jets have a lot of power, and these engines, when they're even at idle, sometimes you're riding the brakes as you're going out to the end of the runway, and so sometimes it's just a little bit more comfortable for the passengers and pilots to crack the reversers a little bit and just use a little reverse thrust with the buckets out to kind of slow the airplane down or keep it from going too fast down the taxiway. So that's my experience with that. Do you guys have any experience with using thrust reverse buckets for slowing an airplane down or some other use?
Well, yeah, there's a story that occurred to me in the Tornado. Now, we didn't test the reversers. I think mainly because, we didn't actually rely on them. They shortened your landing run, but they weren't an essential part of it. So if they failed to deploy, you weren't really cared. Anyway, I was taking a Tornado out of a hardened aircraft shell tower, and in order to, because we parked 2 aircraft in, I was the front aeroplane with our wings swept back, and in order, when we started up to taxi out, stop cooking the aeroplane behind us, we used to start up one engine, and almost immediately we would taxi out. Now, to give us full hydraulics and systems, we used to close the cross-drive clutch, a system which joined the gearboxes on both engines, even though you only had one running. Anyway, it was a night sortie, and I hadn't been flying recently. I'd just come back from leave, and I did this in a bit of a rush and taxied out, and I didn't look down to check to make absolutely certain that the cross-drive clutch had successfully engaged. And of course, this is the one time in my entire time flying the Tornado that it didn't. So as I got about 30 feet out of the house, 40 feet out of the house, the marshaller crossed his batons to stop me, and I put my feet on the brakes, and the brake pedals just went straight flat to the floor, and nothing happened. And this was because the cross-drive clutch hadn't closed. The hydraulic system I need to power the brakes wasn't pressurized. So I had no brakes. So I reached in and grabbed the emergency brake handle and tried that, and still no brakes. And that was because the engineers hadn't pumped up the accumulator, because that's where it worked from, and it was under pressure, and so I got no emergency brakes. Meanwhile, I'd nearly run over the marshal who had to leap out of the way because I couldn't stop this damned airplane. And we're heading off out of the taxiway into a big out of the house area, which is illuminated, into a big dark taxiway. And I'm going, oh, bloody hell. So I tried to lift the canopy to shout to the ground crew to get some chocks. The canopy is powered by the same accumulator as the brakes. So, of course, I tried to lift the canopy and the canopy wouldn't lift. So I'm stuck in this bloody jet-powered coffin without any way of bellowing out.
Eject.
I go round the corner thinking, what the hell do I do now? So I put in the thrust reverser on the engine that was going. And, of course, we were going up a slight incline, and that helped pull the airplane to a halt. And as we came to a halt, I thought, well, I better shut this engine down, otherwise we're going to keep, going off down round that bloody airfield. I won't be able to stop. So I shut the engine down, and then of course everything went black then, and I couldn't shout at the air crew because I couldn't get the ground crew because I couldn't get the canopy open, and I suddenly realized that we were starting to drift backwards down the taxiway now with
oh no,
with no brakes. And I was thinking, oh my God, I couldn't lift the canopy. I couldn't do anything. There's no electrics now because I've shut the engine down. I'm going, oh, this is ridiculous. Anyway, one of the ground crew by then had realized there was a problem, came running up with a chock, which he bravely threw under one of the main wheels. So the airplane lurched round as the chock engaged. And of course, we had the wings all the way back, so the center of gravity was way back. And boom, the nose lifted about 10 feet into the air. And I was sure we were going to crunch the tail onto the tarmac, but we didn't. And it hovered there about 10 feet up and then slammed back down on the ground again. And we sat there going, oh, thank the Lord for that. Of course, it took him about half an hour to pressurize the accumulator and let us out of the cockpit. But I learned a very good lesson there about checking. It was a check, engage cross-drive clutch, check pressures, and I hadn't done that. So that taught me a lesson. Yeah, I was quite a senior guy by then, so that was a real slap on the hand.
Wow, that could have gone so much.
Oh yeah,
badly,
if I'd gone backwards into a building or something, that would have been just.
Oh gosh.
Oh Christ.
Wow.
Yes. As was, no damage.
That's a great story. Well, that answers his question. Did you do this on the Tornado? Yes, out of necessity, apparently. Captain Jeff, did you do this on the Starlifter? I think I did. I think we were. I don't think we were allowed to use it to actually back up the Starlifter, although there were times when I'd seen it done. But taxiing out, I don't remember putting out the buckets for that. Dr. Steph, do you test the beta range on the Twin Otter as we do on our Turbo Commander?
Sure do. We test them one at a time, so we move past the flight idle gate. Now the Twin Otter with the power levers here, it's actually kind of a rolling motion, and then you can pull one back at a time into beta and watch for the beta light illumination on both sides, make sure it's working as you're taxiing.
Cool.
Yep.
All right. Luis ends it with warmest regards for whichever holiday season is applicable to when my feedback makes it to the show. Ooh, burn.
Yeah, exactly.
It wasn't that long. And I want to also, he sent a private email to me basically wishing me a great holiday season and the fact that he lives in the Atlanta area, not really too far from where I am right now. And he's invited me to come and visit with him and his daughter at some point in the future. And I definitely will take you up on that, Luis. So thank you for that. And he's also he signed up to be, I believe, a patron. Via Patreon. So thank you for financially supporting the show as well, Louise. Appreciate
Brilliant.
that.
Awesome.
Cheers.
All right.
Oh, Stefan.
I think Stefan
got a
needs to
reverser
head
story.
Yeah, no reverser story. We were not allowed to use them, and neither aircraft are used. So, although sometimes I recall that one airport, Stuttgart, which has quite a steep slope, with one engine in reverse, when you go past 30 knots rolling down the hill there, it could keep it quite good, steady in good speed. But it was, of course, not allowed to do that. But I don't know why I got the impression that it.
We didn't hear it.
But anyhow,
hypothetically, theoretically, supposedly.
I just wanted. Yeah, I have to reverse back from the show. I wanted to have great holiday season and good start in the new year. That's why I have I just want to keep that's my lucky pig, German
Very
pig,
good.
and it has a shamrock on it with 4 leaves, and that's a lucky symbol.
That's an Irish pig then,
yeah,
surely.
Maybe it tastes like it. Maybe, I don't know. Great.
Did you
bye-bye.
just say that the Irish are pigs?
All
or
the best,
somebody-
Stefan.
No. They have nice
okay.
Irish pie, Okay,
Yeah,
thank you
Good
very
to see you,
much.
Stefan. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Happy
Cheers,
New Year.
Stefan.
Cheers.
Yeah, thank you.
Merry
Bye,
Christmas.
Stefan.
Bye.
Thanks for joining us. And Irish bacon, the best. I don't know. I'm just throwing
when
that
I was
out
a
there.
kid living in Berlin, we used to get kind of like 2 Christmases because the Germans celebrate St. Nicholas's night on, I think, about the 14th or something. Yeah, I'm trying to think what it was called. But anyway, we got extra presents then with all the German kids. And then when we had the 25th, we had all our usual presents. So we used to get double.
Well, if you play your
dealings. That
cards
was
right,
good.
then you find somebody that has the holiday tradition of presents on the Epiphany, January 6th, the 12th day.
Oh,
of
that would
Christmas.
be even perfect, yes.
Or the 13th day.
Why on earth did I think of that?
I don't know. Too late now, though. Well, I guess it's never too late. And Liz, you were saying we should end with number 12. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Let's do this. We're going to end the show this week. We still have some great feedback yet to read through. And, and we always love more, Liz says. So, but this is from Olivia. And she says, hello from Cape Town, South Africa.
Oh, lovely
First
place. Used
time
to love
feedback, she
flying
puts
into
in all
Cape Town.
caps. Yeah, she's very excited about first time feedback, or she's yelling at us. Hello, APG team. And we love to be yelled at if it's a positive yell. I discovered APG about 2 weeks ago, and I'm besotted with the podcast. I had to ask Liz exactly what that meant. I've never heard that term before, but I'm glad that you're besotted. I listen to APG on my commute to and from work, while cleaning the house or rounding up the garden, basically any chance I can get. I love the friendly banter between the team and often find myself laughing with all of you.
Well, as long as he's not laughing at us. That's
Exactly. I was
better.
going to say
Yeah.
the same thing. Well, she probably does that too, and she just didn't want to embarrass us.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Anyway, she says, keep up the great work. I love everything about the APG podcast. Even Captain Nick? Huh. Okay.
Thank you.
Clear skies and tailwinds. God bless everyone. Positive rate of climb. Olivia
Oh,
Seville.
new one.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like that.
Olivia.
That's
Positive
nice.
rate of climb.
Nice sign off.
Yeah.
That is very good. Thank you very much, Olivia. Welcome to the community. And yes, we are besotted with Olivia. Thank you very much. So, yeah, this is a great way to end our show for basically 2024, most likely. And what we like to do when we wrap everything up is point you over toward our website, airlinepilotguide.com, where you'll find outdated information about the crew, community. I swear, one of these days we're going to fix that.
We'll get it fixed.
I mean, why do we even have a website, really?
I don't know. There's some information there. You can piece the gaps together. It's fine.
Yeah. It's we can do like an archaeological dig, see what's been happening in the ages. The Plaintail page. We have the APG library. Tiffany manages that for us. We have merchandise. Yeah, don't. Yeah, it is too late for ordering for Christmas, and maybe next year we'll do something about getting some new items in our merchandise store and that kind of thing. But anyway, lots of stuff over there on the website. So check it out, airlinepilotguide.com. We're also unfortunately on social media, and because we have to be. And I think Steph would like to tell us all about the social medias.
I would love to. I think we're there because we want to be. We enjoy
That's
it.
exactly what I meant
Yes.
to say. Thank you.
A couple different places. Pick your poison here. Facebook.com/airlinepilotguy is one. We're on X at APG Crew is our handle. If you want to play the Find the Numbers game and the show logo on the weekly artwork that Captain Nick does, that's on Instagram. Instagram.com/APG Crew. And to find the recordings of the live shows, the video, or to join us live, youtube.com/@airlinepilotguy/streams. If you really want to get involved with the community, I would also point you to Slack.
Yeah, but before we do that, I obviously you agree with my characterization of social media because you said pick your poison. And as far as I'm concerned, poison is not a positive thing. I don't know.
Could be.
Just saying.
Depends on, I don't know.
Okay, moving on. Here we go. I don't know. Let's see if Hillel is. It's a nice shower here. I think Hillel would agree. Hillel, could you tell us about Slack?
Okay, but I'm dripping wet.
That's okay. We be careful. You're gonna slippery tile floor there. Okay, and he's walking over here on the carpet. And okay, Hillel, please put a towel on. Okay, I have a camera. Okay, come on over here and tell us all about Slack.
APG listeners, please join us on our Slack team. Slack is a communication, coordination, and sharing platform that works on your mobile, laptop, or browser. On Slack, we share news and ideas, we suggest episode and plain tales topics, we plan events and meetups. To get into the Slack team, please email me at slack@airlinepilotguy.com. That's SLACK Sierra Lima Alpha Charlie Kilo @airlinepilotguy.com, or send me a tweet with your preferred email address to @Hillel, and I'll send you an invitation. That's Hillel, spelled Hotel India 11 Echo 1, and see you in Slack.
You know, Jeff. Well, not only that, Jeff, but I would have a word with housekeeping and get yourself a fresh bath mat. That bath mat in front of the shower, looking a bit dodgy.
Oh yeah, it is. Looks like it needs to see the washing machine.
Yeah, golly.
Yeah.
Phew.
Yeah, I should ask Hillel to take his shoes off before he
Before he takes a shower? Okay.
Before he takes a shower. All right. Well, thank you, Hillel. I'll check out the towels later. I appreciate it. All right. And of course, we'd like to say or give a big round of applause and say to our wonderful producer wearing her Christmas hat, thank you so much for all the hard work that you do year round. I guess
My pleasure.
Year in and year out.
I'm in and out.
You're not out.
I'm in and out.
In and year out. I can't speak today. It must have been all the.
I've never seen a
parties
with
rum.
All the
Doesn't
all the
bode
Christmas
well
parties.
doesn't bode well for your singing later.
Oh, I know. I hope that I have a voice today. Speaking of eggnog, it's sort of related to eggnog. I met with my friend and also my financial advisor, the same person, Alex, the other day, and he gave me a wonderful gift. He's from Puerto Rico. His family is. And it's a concoction called coquito. Oh,
I love
you know
coquito.
about that, Steph.
Yes.
And it is so delicious. It has a very coconutty, I guess
Tropical?
It's like
condensed
Puerto Rican
evaporated
eggnog,
milk.
but
Yeah, it's
better.
Is it a
but
cross
there's no
between
eggs.
eggnog and pina colada?
Yeah,
No,
it does have,
yeah.
but it does, and they put, to my taste buds, it it sets itself apart from a pina colada by there's a lot of cinnamon in it, so it kind of gives it that
That's the
kind
eggnog
of
part of
holiday.
it, yeah.
Yeah, that kind of. But he says, I
What's
guess
the
you
alcohol?
can make it with eggs, but he
Rum.
said, the classic one is no eggs in
Right.
it. It's just, what was the question?
Rum is the alcohol.
Oh,
Alcohol.
rum. Yeah,
Correct,
it has a lot of.
It's the Caribbean.
Rum. Yeah.
Yes.
Delicious.
I have a few Puerto Rican friends, so I've had a fair share of
A
cookies.
lot of sugar, which means a lot of rum. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
There's actually some
actually-
in my fridge right now, which is very
really?
heavy on the rum, which I cannot drink.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I guess the evaporated milk or the condensed. No, it's
Both.
condensed milk.
Both. No, it's both.
Oh, it's both.
It's
But
both.
it's the condensed milk gives it all that sweetness. I
Sugar,
think.
yeah, yeah,
There's-
very
Because
sugary.
there's no sugar that you actually put in as far as the recipe. I was
Condensed
looking
milk
at
is
it.
very sugary.
Yep, it's good stuff. So thank you so much, Alex, my new friend and financial advisor. Yeah, with that,
That's it. Yeah.
with a quick thank you to this wonderful audience that hangs out in
They've
the
been
chat
good this week, haven't they?
each and
Good
every
group today.
week. So great to see you all from all over the world, by the way.
Yes.
Without the community, we'd be just spinning our wheels here. Talking about a bunch of.
Well, we do
nonsense
still spin our
nonsense.
wheels, but not as badly.
Right. It just feels more legitimate with actually
Right.
having an audience.
Exactly.
So it works out. All right. Well, anyway, thank you to you all. Happy holidays to each and every one of you out there listening. And finally, we'd like to take the opportunity to say, wishing you clear skies, unlimited visibility, and tailwinds. Take care. God bless and Merry Christmas.
Holiday cheers, y'all.
Yeah, Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
See you next time. Probably next year, everybody. Happy holidays.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah, very good.
Oh, and
right.
IHOL Box, it says one last thought here.
Stay safe. Remember to wrap your package before going down the chimney.
Safety first.
Good advice.
Safety third.
Yeah, safety first.
Okay.
Although scraping your package along the chimney walls does have a certain
Whoa.
attraction. Okay.
Okay.
I don't know what I meant by that.
Recorders
Sorry.
off. Recorders off. Mike Kuiper says, "Happy birthday, Jeff."
Yes.
Oh,
Happy,
thank you,
Happy
Michael.
birthday. Happy early birthday.
Why am I not able to turn off my recorder?
Uh-oh, we're going to be hearing everything.
Well, while you're working on that,
Yeah,
you talked
go
about the website being an archaeological relic, which reminded me that to go and see if the Space Jam website from the movie Space Jam back in like 1996 still exists. It was like one of the first websites for a movie ever to be like put on the internet. It exists in its current or in its original form from 1996. So anyone who's kind of
Wow.
my generation or era and saw that movie, you're welcome. Go
Love
and
it.
take a look at it. It's it's a blast from the past.
There's another birthday wish, Jeff, from somebody here.
Oh, Armando. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Happy
Hello.
birthday. Thank you. Still.
Was he skulking? Is he skulking in
I
the
think he's
background?
lurking.
I
He's
guess so.
lurking.
Yeah, that nasty lurker.
So, Nick,
Cumpleaños.
possible titles
I
here.
think I've
you
got
got it?
one.
We got it, okay.
I've got emergency evacuation and brackets pigs shitting in a KLM 787.
I don't
Or
think
I've
we can
got
use that word, but go ahead.
Oh, okay. Pig counters bean counters or bean eaters.
Right, that's good.
And pigs and pilots evacuate.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's my
Okay.
three.
I've
Have
got-
you got
Well, if you
anything
do-
better than that?
Pig evacuation, why pigs don't fly, and oh sure.
Why pigs don't fly.
Okay,
I
and
like that.
my
That's cute.
contributions are a happy ending for Virgin pilots,
Oh,
And-
I'm not going to do that one. Sorry.
and can instead of can can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right.
And jet powered coffin.
Jet powered.
There you go.
Nick was
Oh,
in his
'cause Nick
jet.
just used
Nick
that
was in his
term.
jet powered coffin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do. It has to have pigs because you got to put
Pig
the
poo.
pigs in Bermuda shorts.
I like
Oh, okay. I need
instead
to
of
make a note
Bermuda
of that.
shits, it's Bermuda shorts. I mean Bermuda shorts, Bermuda shit. Anyway.
Yeah, don't.
But you got to have some artwork with pigs wearing Bermuda shorts.
Yes, that's somewhere in there.
Poppy says Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas, Poppy.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, Poppy. Or how
Poppy.
about pigs on a toilet in the cockpit?
Well, they would be evacuating there, wouldn't they not?
Yeah.
Well, in their shorts.
With their shorts down around their ankles.
Easy peasy.
Good luck, Nick.
Yeah, how long? I've got ages to do this, presumably.
I know.
That's true. Yeah.
You do. You have like 2 weeks. It's fine.
Exactly.
Well, that brings the subject up. When I try to get this thing published on a Monday or sometimes as late as a Tuesday, but since that's basically Christmas Eve or day before Christmas Eve, I might wait until later in the week. Just kind of
but then
bridge
you've
the
got
gap.
then you've got Christmas, then you've got your birthday. There's just so much coming up then.
Oh, I know, but I mean, I don't have to. I mean, I can publish it then. I'm going to try to finish
Oh,
up
okay.
editing and everything
All
before
right.
then.
Got it.
We'll see.
I'm just remembering, I've already put someone on a toilet in the cockpit.
You have. No, you have.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it wasn't
I'm
a
gonna have
pig.
to try and-
Oh, yeah,
It wasn't a
pig.
I'm pretty sure of that.
And did they have radio controls there? I don't remember that.
Well, he was still sitting at the main control. They'd given the captain
Well, now they're- now
toilet
they're-
instead
Part
of
of
a
the same.
seat.
Now he's back in the jump seat.
No, so that's
Yeah.
so that's advanced technology that we had on that image.
Exactly.
Because you don't have to leave the
With
seat.
out
So now,
for Ebony, exactly.
I mean,
I gotta
Yeah.
see
you,
this
you
box.
need
You
to
just-
talk to the people at Airbus, Captain. Nick.
Yeah,
Maybe
you could get a
I think you're
consulting
right.
job.
I think
Get
I've
some
got an
money for that.
idea for them.
You got a consulting job coming up there.
You could have 2 toilets in the cockpit.
Exactly.
Well, that's right. And then you could have one of those Japanese bidet toilets,
Yeah.
so
Oh,
they wouldn't
yes.
even have to wipe. They
The
could just
best.
sit
That
there
goes
and
without saying.
You got that right. Oh my
That
God.
goes
little
without
air
saying.
dryer as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first
Yeah,
officer would only
you're
get
making
cold
a
water.
You're making a radio call. What's that noise in the background? That fan noise. Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, none of your business. It's my business. I've just
If you
done
do a
it.
pig, if you do a pig sitting on the toilet in the cockpit, make sure you have them have a hand mic, like talking on the radio too.
Exactly.
You don't want those, do you? And,
Okay, everybody,
I'm noting all this down.
Before this goes further off the rails, we're going to say bye.
Too late.
Yes. Yeah. Well, it is too late.
Thanks,
All right.
everybody.
Thank
Have
you,
a great
everybody.
holiday season. We'll
Yes.
see you.
Enjoy your
Is
holidays.
it?
Be
Oh, it's a
safe.
trotter, isn't it?
Yeah, trotter. Yeah. Having the trots. Okay. Bye.
Cheers, everybody.
that?
Merry Christmas.
Merry
Have a great
Christmas.
holiday.